everyone. Super excited to another episode of Web3 Unfiltered. And today I'm super excited to have Jen with Jenny and myself, because Jen is a 5 times founder. Right now, she's also the CEO of Motivate You. So before we dive into the topic, Jen, why don't you tell us who is Jen? And yeah, give us a long answer.
Oh, great. Okay. Um, yeah, so this is a question people ask a lot, and I don't really have an answer for it. It's either because I'm neurodivergent and I have no idea what the questions are asking, or because I don't think I ever know if I've found the answer. I'm one of those people who's like always has to try something new, and I, I never feel like I've found myself. So I don't honestly know the answer to that question. Um, is there a common way people answer it? Do they still like people say the religious answers are like mother, sister, coworker, right? Like people name like how they identify by how they relate to other people, but is that really who you are?
Then
Only in relation to others? I don't know. It's
what do
so
you think you are?
who am I? I'm a tiny speck on a planet that's smaller in the universe that's smaller, and I don't know, but maybe I'll find out by the end of the show.
Interesting. Okay, then let's just go from there. Like, how did you
Wow.
start your first company? Yeah, it's really
I
like
also haven't slept much lately. So I'm sick and my kids are sick. So my first company, so this kind of goes back to this relational thing, because my first company started um, out of, I guess, necessity and just like life happening. So when I was in grad school, I was a TA for a statistics class. And one of my professors was like, I know you like doing this. And then the nutrition department asked me to do their statistics like reviews for their the students who are getting their masters. So it's sort of like, taking information from like one department and moving it to another. And so this professor is like, hey, I have a friend who has a tutoring company and they need help. They don't have enough people in this area. So do you want to start tutoring? So that's when I started tutoring, when I was in grad school. And that matters because then when I when I got into my career, and I was going back to school pre-med. This is why my story is really confusing, because I was actually working in emergency rooms with a master's degree in counseling, and then I decided to go back pre-med. I got into a car accident, like a really bad one. So I was sitting at a red light, minding my own business, fully stopped at the red light that was already fully red. There was another car next to me, completely stopped. It had been red. It wasn't yellow. It was fully red. And another car came behind me and hit me at 45 miles an hour and pushed me into the intersection. So I didn't go to med school. That's the short version of that one. But when I was trying to decide what I was doing for a while, I needed something that I could do like different hours, or like if I would get really bad migraine, still I had concussion, I was throwing up a lot. Like I needed things that I could do like a little bit of time. So I was like, well, the tutoring thing was like something I could do for a little bit of time. And I had been doing it in person, but I was like, why can't I do it online? So that's what I did first. But it ended up becoming sort of a pretty big thing. And then I got a bunch of international clients. I stopped advertising after like 1 year, and I just got referrals after referrals, and people would just send me different people. And I ended up working with students who went to the top 10 like MBA schools. I worked on people's like theses when they get into programs in like robotics. I ended up doing a lot of really fun things with that. So that was the first thing I did. But it started again, like, I was helping somebody else. I realized I could do this. Oh, this is something I'm good at. And then when I needed to fall back on something, it was like the one thing that kind of jumped out at me. And we'll come back to this probably, but it's also how I got into crypto in a weird way. So we'll talk about that later. But
wait, is there some like crypto billionaire end up in the emergency room and then like
oh no, that maybe, and I just didn't know. I did work in Princeton, so like I wouldn't be surprised.
interesting. So tell us how like
So, well, because when I started tutoring, the first thing was like, tutoring online. Like this was back, God, like 2000, 2011-ish, you know, it wasn't like everybody was doing it then. But I had a Skype back from like when I studied abroad in like 2004. My grandfather worked for Apple and he had like a free Skype thing when it was like in beta. And he's like, I don't want to test this. Do you want to test this? You're out in Australia. Let's see if we can make it work internationally. So I've been using Skype for forever. So I had Skype and I'm like, how am I gonna get people to pay me, right? And I found this website that people could pay you in Bitcoin, like trade time for Bitcoin back in 2014. So, you know, that was like part of, you know, like, because it was really hard back then. You were doing PayPal and you're hoping people paid you, but people wouldn't sometimes. And, you know, like I would try to like work with people first before I'd be like, you could pay me after. But even then people get flaky. And the funny thing is sometimes the people who wouldn't pay you would come back and later ask you to do something else. I'm like, do you like remember that? Like, I don't think we're going to do this trust thing anymore. It was really much trickier back then. There wasn't like instant payments, you know? So that's how I got into Bitcoin, because at that point I was losing a decent amount of money from PayPal. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to try something else if this is easy for people. So that's how I fell into crypto. I fall into a lot of things. It's all serendipitous accidents, I guess.
Wow, crazy. That is wild. That was early, right? Back then, how much is like the Bitcoin? I forgot.
Sub 100.
Yeah.
I think I got it right when it was going up and down. I mean, I don't know who got in at like $1 or $10. Jenny, you tell the pizza story. How much did that person get in? Was it like $15 or something? When they got the Bitcoin pizza, like they paid for pizza, but they got their Bitcoin really like.
Probably there. Can you guys hear me well?
Yes.
You guys can hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
If you got in 2014, I got in around late 2015, and at that time it was under 1,000, so it's no longer $15. So I think it was around 600 or 700 by the time that I got in Bitcoin. So if you got into 2014, it could even be half of that price. So Bitcoin, he paid 10 Bitcoins for 2 pizza. So
the first
that was much
no,
early
it's
on.
1,000
But
Bitcoin.
that 10 Bitcoin.
No, 1,000.
Hey,
1,000. Well, no, it's
I know that the
Bitcoin.
10 Bitcoins were
$10,000
million.
10,000.
Yeah, 10,000
Yeah,
Bitcoin.
700 million.
Yeah. So crazy.
Oh, 10,000 Bitcoins. Yeah.
Yes.
No, was it 10,000 Bitcoins?
Yeah.
You just
10,000.
Or is it 10 Bitcoins?
10,000.
Yeah, I know. Like,
wow.
I would never look at a pizza
so
again.
That makes sense for it to be 700.
Yeah. So that must have been when it was around like $15, but nobody wanted to take it. I don't know what it could have been when even then that would have been a ridiculous amount of 10,000 of anything. I don't know how that person convinced them to do that.
I think back then that he was just trying to prove the utility of Bitcoin, right?
Crazy.
I mean, yeah. And then that was 2010.
Okay. So it was like probably like 15 cents back then. My God.
Yeah, exactly. So you studied statistics back then. So I think that you have a really strong foundation of AI and big data, right?
So my grandparents raised me since I was 4. And one of the first things I got in my room was a computer because my grandfather worked for Apple. So I would get, like, he would get new computers all the time and I would just get the one he had before that. So my grandparents they had already had kids, you know, they did their thing. So I was be seen and not heard child. So I spent a lot of time on my computer. And then the summers, my grandfather would take me to the office and I would just walk around the Apple office all day and hang out. So a lot of the stuff I learned on computers, I didn't learn in school.
Wait, your granddad used to work for Apple.
Mm-hmm.
So how old are you?
I am 40.
If I can ask.
I'm 40. That's a hard one to say. Yeah.
Wow. It's so crazy. I thought you might be like 20, 23 years old or something. Yeah, Jenny or yeah.
You look young, Jen. That's okay.
Yeah, the wrinkles hit me once I had kids.
So if,
I would get carded. I was like 30 years old, and
Is
I'd
it?
get carded for our movies.
and then I heard.
Sorry, what was that?
Wow.
I don't know if I can hear you, Jenny.
So I actually wanted to. Oh, you can't hear me?
I can hear you
I think
now.
I have like pretty bad connections today, because I'm not. Can you guys hear me better? Is it
You're
better?
coming through now.
No.
No, I got
No,
you.
we hear good.
Can you guys hear me at all?
Good.
Yeah, I don't know if you can hear us.
Oh, you can't.
Yes.
No,
I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you kind of in and out, but I okay. So I think I'm lagging. Yeah, I think I'm
I
lagging.
think so.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'm lagging. But I do wanted to ask a question, Jen. You have a 5X and I have a 3X. Can you share some of that, or how does that work? Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So I think do you have 3 exits or 3 companies?
Jenny
Jen.
has 3 exits.
No,
Jenny
I
has 3
exit 3
exits.
times.
Yeah, so that's why you're cool, right? Like I fell into this group
Yeah.
where people just say, like, how
You
many
have
times
5
have you started something? I started something 5 times. I haven't exited 5 times. Though I have had other things I've like been founding partners on that I don't count. But so what I count in that is that first company, which when I first entered the tech startup space, I actually didn't count it. But then I was meeting with VCs and they were asking me questions that like the skills that I'd learned from those other businesses actually informed how I had proceeded and how quickly I was able to get through like the formations process and understanding hiring and all of that stuff. So then I started to be like, okay, I started talking to more people and realized that some people do count those types of things. So the second business I had was with a partner in his brick and mortar business. So much different with like hiring staff and like having people in person and like having to deal with like all of that nonsense. The third one was more of a tech startup. It started right as the pandemic hit. And it was actually with a former client of mine. And that person had a medical issue and we kind of paused it for him. And then we like didn't get, like I kind of started something else and we never kind of got that going again. But he was very, very passionate about it. So I kind of felt bad about pushing forward without him, but that probably would have turned out differently if maybe I'd kept it going and I could have pulled him back up. But then while I was waiting for him to get that going, I launched Motivate You. And then there's the AI bot company that I'm a co-founder that I was asked to co-found. So there's 3 of us co-founders for that one.
So what's about Motivate You?
So that's that came out of me trying to, this was actually a pre-pandemic idea, but I launched it during the pandemic. So after I had my second son, I was trying to go back to the gym, and it's like really hard to find places that will take little ones. So like if you have a 2-year-old and up, you can pretty much go to like any gym. Like most gyms have a childcare or something or other to help you with that. But when they're like under that, like finding a place for 6 months is really hard. So I found a gym. It was like 45 minutes away with traffic. And there was like one class I was really excited to go to. It was like a 40-minute class. So I take the kids there and they're like, okay, well, if the kids cry for 15 minutes or more, we actually will over the speaker, like call you down, but otherwise have fun. Okay. So like when I got there, most of the kids in there looked miserable, but this was a very expensive gym. So I'm like, it probably can't get better than this. Like, I'm just going to have to go with this and just try. So I go to the class. I had a really good class. The way the class worked with my schedule was like this crazy boot camp class. And they're like, we can't believe you haven't been to the gym in a while and made it through this class. They're like, nobody ever survives this class. People always drop out. And like they were so excited. Like everybody was like cheering me on. And I was like, oh, I can't wait to come back next week. Like, but during the class, it was like crazy. Like the instructor was like in my face, like on the ground. It was like painful as hell. But I'm like, I'm doing this. Like when I commit to something, I'm doing it. Anyway, so I walk out. I'll see you guys next week. I go down. My kids are like screaming so loud. Their faces are so red. They look sick. And I'm like, oh my God, are they okay? She's like, yeah, they've been crying for like 30 minutes. I'm like, I thought you said you'd call if it's been 15 minutes. They're like, well, we figured your class was almost done soon. Anyway, I tried to go back like 1 or 2 more times. They were absolutely miserable. But we were driving like an hour and a half for like a 40-minute class. They were miserable. I loved the class though, and I wanted to be there with other people. Like I needed that like motivation from everybody encouraging me. So Motivate You is a computer vision company. And instead of like being like Peloton, where like we own all the instructors and we own everything and you have to do things our way, we sell our technology to instructors and to gyms so that they can offer a virtual version of their online, of their in-person stuff. So they could do hybrid or both. And it allows you to see that you're doing the movements correctly. So there's a company called Mirror that was bought by Lululemon. You stand in front of a mirror with an AI bot and you kind of like do movements and it tells you if you're doing them right. But this is with a live instructor. We don't use a predefined library, so the instructor can do whatever movement they want in real time, and it will mirror to all of the people that are taking the class. We also allow for on-demand videos that have the same feature, where it allows them to get scores. The real-time scores are given. The feedback goes every 1 millisecond, so you get a constant performance score of how you're doing. Assessments are done that way too, so instructors can see how their clients are doing without having to like, watch every like minute of every single person, so they can like reach a lot more people at scale. We have things where you can like send a link of the on-demand video to your friends and join in real time and compete with your friends, so you can share your scores with each other. It's like a lot of interactive stuff. So it's like those busy times in your life when you like just literally like can't, you can maybe get the 40 minutes for the class figured out, but you can't do all the extra driving, childcare, or you just like have a very busy work schedule and like that driving back and forth to the gym is hard, but you want to squeeze something in, but not do it alone, and do it correctly. Cause like us super efficient people, like I don't want to go to the gym and waste an hour and like maybe get like 5% results, right? Like I want to like optimize my time there. So if I'm doing the exercise like on a YouTube video, but I'm doing it wrong, like that's not really helpful. I might like say in my brain I did something, but like super achievers, like we want to actually do the thing, right? So that's how that all came about.
Crazy. I have somebody like in the audience ask you like, how do you balance work-life balance being a single mom of 2? Wait, I don't even know you're a single mom. You're a mom. Are you single
Yeah.
mom?
Yeah, I'm a single mom.
Oh,
I will say it's easier now than it was not being a single mom. But I don't balance it. I'm not going to lie. I'm really bad at that. I'm really bad at like doing things for myself. And like people have to like force me to like take off time and stuff. But I also feel like there's seasons to life. And I also am like, I've always been a workaholic, like since I was like a little kid. When I was 11, I wrote a screenplay and filmed it. Like, I don't do downtime. I'm not saying that's good for everybody. It's probably not even good for me, but like it's part of it's like my personality. I don't watch TV. I don't have like I never have owned my own television. When I moved out with my kids, somebody gave me one for my kids, but like I never like like that to me is like too passive of an activity. So it's really hard if I have to sit through a movie, I have to do something at the same time. But like when I was in grad school, I worked full time. I also took an extra class every semester, and then I was also a TA. Like every like stage of my life, I've overloaded myself. So I even tell like people on my team, do not listen to me when it comes to self-care because I'm really bad at it. But like I can admit that, I guess that's one of my faults.
yeah. I think you should definitely prioritize health, right? Because I think also last year, I also end up in hospital 2 or 3 times because of like the pressure over work. Because I don't know you, but like me personally, if my mind wanted to push through it, my body listen. And only until the point your body really max out and everything outbursts, right?
Yeah. No, I totally get that. I can say that I do have some like life hacks. Because I've definitely I had one thing due for Motivate You early on where it was like one of my team members had somebody in the hospital. The other one was having surgery. One of them had a heart attack. The other person was there with that person when they had the heart attack. And I got COVID and I was like, I'm the only one left. Like it's falling on me because I'm the CEO. So like, I'm going to have to do this no matter what. Right. One thing that I do is I do think eating healthy is really important, but before I had kids, I was really great at like making lots of meals and like, you know, prepping for the week and filling my freezer with stuff. Now it's just not going to happen. I just have to admit that. So I'll buy like a lot of the stuff that's like already made meals, but like, you know, like in the fresh section where, you know, it's like, they're not necessarily cheap, but they're like $20 for like 2 servings type of thing. Like you can get them at like Wegmans is really good about it, or they're like partially sort of made. So they're like the home chef things. So they're like, they've got everything started for you, but it's a little bit less work than the home chef because you just have to pour some stuff. Like it'll be raw chicken, but then they're like, here, pour this on, pour that on, pull off this, put it in the oven. I'm like, okay, I got it. You know, like that's because at least it's fresh and it's, you know, so it's, and I guess maybe it's not homemade, but it's not like from the freezer, right? Like, or it's not McDonald's. I like during COVID, I did a lot of delivery, like DoorDash and stuff. I'll admit, like, you know, so like I will, I guess I pamper myself with like that kind of things. I figure if you don't eat well, that's like so foundational. So my thing though is too, like, I'd rather just work a little bit more and then have the money to pay for that stuff. Because to me, the time and energy and all that goes into that, at least at this part of my life with little kids, it's just not happening. So like, I don't feel like, sometimes I feel like there's societal pressure and guilt, like, oh, you don't do all of that. And it's like, but I could, you know, also go out to really nice restaurants on the weekends and spend the same amount of time and then do all, you know, get all this great food. Like, you know, you got where that is for you. But I did even feel a little guilt with DoorDashing at first. I think once the COVID got, you know, crazy, I was like, you know what? Why do I feel bad? I might not be here tomorrow. Like, who knows? Like, you know, when it got really bad with COVID, where like there was a lot of doom and gloom, I was like, you know what? Why can't I get myself 2 meals a day? Like, what difference does it materially make if I can afford to do it? And like, then I go to sleep like not hungry. Like at that point, I wasn't going to sleep because I was so worried. I had to stop. I used to read Apple News till I passed out. I had to get to stop using the app. I have not used it since I launched Motivate You. Actually, it was like a direct thing. Like I was like, I need something like else. And I was doing a lot of volunteer work at the time. But then everything stopped with COVID. So it was a lot of in-person volunteer work. I was on the board of an international women's volunteer organization. So I was like, I had to cut off that. I cut off a lot of things. And then I was like, I need to do something that's super, super busy, but like something I can control, right? Because there was such a lack of control when COVID hit. And my grandmother who raised me had died the October before COVID. So it was just like a really yucky time in my brain, you know, and I just, when everything went down, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna cut out all this crap. I mean, it wasn't all crap, some of it was good, but like all the news stuff that I can't do anything about. I can't do anything about getting the groceries I want because they're not at the store, right? You try to order something, it was all gone anyway. So I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to do DoorDash and grind. DoorDash and grind instead of Netflix and chill.
I'm really with you, right? Especially like you're a single mom. I mean, I really think nowadays, if you can pay for the service that you're not enjoying doing, or like, you know, you can outsource and then you can use the time and bring capacity to do something better, totally support, right? I mean, like, like you said, what's the difference? But the difference is for you, right? So I think that is really high quality of living. And then just, you know, societal pressure, I don't know, right now we are more self-aware, and I'm really happy that there are people like you to talk about this as well, to really like, you know, promote the idea of listen to yourself instead of like, you know, because we as a woman, we accommodate people. Just kind of, I don't know why, but we love to do that, genetic probably. But yeah, I'm totally with you. And I have another follow-up question from the audience. Like, have you ever had to choose between your sons and work? How would you prioritize it? Jenny, can you follow us? I just need to, you know, check in with Jenny a little bit because I know she has a bit technical issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is a hard one. So choose between them. Because this is, I think, one of the great things. So I used to work in the emergency department. I loved it. Okay. So when I was in Princeton, I worked at Princeton. And of course, I didn't work one job. You guys know that. I also worked in the emergency room at Somerset Medical Center, which is a county hospital. So I had my state license to do commitments. it's a psychiatric hospital. So like I would go out with the police and evaluate if somebody needed to go back. If they refused to go back, I had the right to sign them off for the police to take them back, which I only had to do once. I could have done it a lot more times, signed it, but I knew that if I could get the people to come back willingly, then the rest of the process would go well, and we can maybe actually get them to agree to go to treatment, which is much different experience than being committed, right? Like the whole process of like rehabilitation is completely different. And a lot of the people, when they're out in the community, at that point, they were either being violent or destructive or lots of substance abuse. Not always. Sometimes family members and stuff would catch things early, but a lot of times it was pretty escalated when the police got involved. So that's like dangerous to myself, like as a person, like as like as an individual. And then also being in the emergency room, there's lots of like stuff going around. I worked through the swine flu. That was fine as a single person, right? And I honestly probably would have kept doing it, but the schedule for like working and having kids and that, I worked all different shifts. Like if somebody didn't show up, you would just stay. Before my kids were born, I was actually the evening supervisor for admissions. So I would get stuck all the time, not leaving if the overnight shifts weren't filled, which we had shortages at that time. So that would never have worked with kids, right? So like part of having startups allows me to switch the hours around, right? Like I can delegate things and I can move my hours around. So when I really need to do a lot of stuff with my kids, it usually comes from me, right? Like my sleep or, like that kind of thing. Like I just painted my toenails this last week for the first time since I had kids. My oldest is 9. Okay. So that's where I'm not going to take from them. I'm going to take from me. My one son's like, how did you turn your toes blue? Like they've never seen me with toenail polish on. Okay. Like I know it's bad. But like to me, like at the end of the day, like I'm going to live without my toes polished, but like I need them to have those memories. So I don't post my kids on social media a lot. But I do something with them a ridiculous amount of times. Like this, in the last, year and a half, we've been to Disney, Legoland multiple times, Busch Gardens, like, all the big theme parks and all the little things along the way. Like I do lots of stuff with them. And so when I do things with them, I try to be in the moment with them, and that's, make those moments more. And then they don't feel like they need a bunch of like distracted moments with me. Because I feel like when kids if they constantly are needing you, it's because you haven't given them that undivided attention, right? We read lots of books, do like lots of hands-on things. We love doing science experiments. My son, who's in kindergarten now, is doing 4th grade math. And he's doing like division, like and stuff. The teacher's like, how did he know how to do this? Like I was like, he can do conversions from metric to like US, because he asked me the things and I tell him, and then we do it. Like, because he's interested in it. Like I'm very involved with them, right? Like he didn't go to preschool. That's stuff he got from me. My older son started a YouTube channel because I taught him how to do video editing, like, because, it's something I'm interested in and something that we could do together. So I try to like go with that same energy I bring to work with them. And then now it's like, they're actually asking me for less time with them. Like they're like, oh, we just want to do our own thing. And I'm like, what? Are you sure you don't want to, like, I've got this craft, I've got this experiment, you want to just read this book, like, and it's getting more and more like, no, we're good. So I'm glad I did a lot of that, along the way, but it's crazy how fast that starts to disappear. But I think a lot of times, we try to do like more than one thing at a time. Like I see a lot of parents trying to do something with their kids and they keep looking at their phone. I'm not going to blame them. Like I'm, like I understand, like there's a lot of alerts. Once my older son was born, I put on do not disturb. Keep it on all the time. I only pull it off when I'm expecting something and I don't know which channel that person's going to try to reach me from. But otherwise, I go through each of the things that I'm trying to look at to find out when people are outreaching me in my terms. Because if I had my phone not on do not disturb, I feel like I would not even know what my name is, because it'd be like, So like if I'm having a conversation with somebody, even a child, like that would be impossible, right? But a lot of people do, I think, try to be like, well, I have to get this done now. I have to get this, but you're not getting anything done, right? Like people always say, your brain's not a computer. It can't do more than one thing at a time. Well, technically a computer doesn't really do more than one thing at a time either. It's just really fast at task switching. We don't see that. It's so fast, but our brains are not. They say when you switch, it takes like 6 to 8 minutes to like fully get into the new task. So if you're going back and forth, and kids feel that like lack of full attention, just like an adult does when you know you're at like, yeah, you're at a restaurant, right? Did you see that in the beginning when phones got really popular and people were really popping out their, I know they do it sometimes now, but popping out their phones at restaurants and like, do you want to be here with me? Or like, should we just not do this? At Disney, there was people, multiple people on rides watching TikToks. You just wait in line for an hour, paid what to come up in here, and you're gonna watch your TikTok movie on here? Like, you don't have to be here. You know this, right? Like, nobody's making you come here. So weird. So I think choosing between, like, when I have to choose, I prioritize. I just decide I have to do one at a time, you know. And if there's a deadline, I'm just a night owl. It's not great, but there's been lots of times so I've stayed up. I mean, during the separation phase, I was staying up till 4 a.m. every single night for like a year and a half. Then it took me a while to even get to not fall asleep at 4 for a while. But yeah, I'd unfortunately just take from self-care and then make things happen. Yeah.
Crazy.
Crazy. Like,
do you think
Wow.
like being a Jenny, go ahead.
Okay, I know I'm lagging, but my question is, you've been officially separated and then divorced, right? So I guess that's divorce. And your older son is 9 years old. And how about the younger one?
6.
How old is the younger one?
He's 6 now.
6. Okay. So dating in the horizon or just the boys and work?
I started dating. Oh no. No, it's good. I just didn't do it. Oh, I should have known you were gonna go there. We want to say someone has to force me to do something. Yeah, I had to take a break. That person forced me to take some breaks. So I think that says a lot when I like never take a break and like, yeah, I mean, work through birthdays, all holidays, major holidays. And then this person gets me to like put my computer down. It's gotta mean something.
Crazy. Yeah, but I think it's a good thing, you
first
know.
and foremost, yeah, I think dating is good. You know, so I should advise myself that.
I was gonna say, yeah. Maybe this is a sign.
Yeah.
Watch your DMs, close them down.
I'm lagging really bad.
Yeah, I think dating is good, you know, like just dating is also take your just like, how should I say, take your life a little bit lighter, right? Because dating is just like fun, entertaining, you know, you don't think much. Or I don't know. Yeah, Jenny, go ahead.
I think it depends though, right? So it depends on who you date, that it could make your life lighter, or it depends on who you date. It could make your life more dramatic and it drags you down. So it's really, you know, dating, it's that weird topic that it could go either way. And usually for me, if it goes the wrong way, I'd rather cut it off as soon as possible, because I got no time for that, you know, in life. So you just gonna friend zone them, you know, friend zone until, you know, because there's just no time for the drama, the this and that. So yeah. Go ahead, KUAN-NING.
No, totally, I'm with you. If he's a 10 and then he's not like empowering me, he's out. He's just out. I mean, I think like there is a saying in Chinese, I don't know how to properly translate it, so I'm just gonna translate it bluntly. Basically, it says, in this world, we have the most is money. Money is everywhere, you know, like the billion of dollars and stuff. And second of all is men, right? So I mean, if he's a 10 and he's draining your energy, I mean, well, next one, right? That is Chinese though, Chinese wisdom, not my wisdom, Chinese wisdom. So, but yeah, what I want to ask you
is
like,
funny how it's an no.
Yeah?
Go ahead. No,
it's funny what? It's funny
no,
what?
go ahead, KUAN-NING. I was saying
I don't
it's funny
disagree.
that money and men are M and M's. M and M's. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. I didn't see that. But yeah, so I
Yeah,
don't
they
know.
could be good, and when they're fresh, but like M&Ms do melt in your hand. It's false advertising. So like all things.
Exactly. But yeah, what I want to ask you is like, do you find like being a mom and being an entrepreneur is easier, or like do you think like the mom and then like taking corporate job is easier? Because I have my bias, but you tell me your experience. Okay.
Yeah, I think the flexibility is just, like I said, I guess my only corporate job was right out of undergrad. I went to Bucknell and then I worked for ADP. But like then I went to the hospital. So like it's much crazier. I think if I had like a 9 to 5, like one of my good friends, her husband works for ADP, and they were really great during the pandemic. They like came in so many ways, I'm not gonna list them all, but like, so there are companies I think that corporate wise it could work well. Hospital healthcare, I do know plenty of parents who do it, but it's really, really, really hard. And I think you have to have like a big community around you, like, in-laws or parents or siblings, something, a lot, cousins, people around that can help, because especially during COVID too, like there was no nannies for a while. Like we had none. Like everybody, like nobody was allowed to even come into your house, right? So like at the end of the day, even then family didn't matter. Like everything was out. So people in healthcare then, it was just like sink or swim. I mean, it was intense. But I think flexibility for me is important. I also, anytime I've worked in a company, whether it's healthcare or otherwise, like I get what I'm supposed to get done quickly, and then I need to do something else. I can't just sit there. So I end up like asking if I can work on other things, which is kind of weird. Or like I made like an extra SQL database for like more easy access for one of the sub departments at the hospital, so that we could like enter people's information in a way that was similar to like another division. Like the hospital didn't have like the same thing across all the sections because of like the way some of the outpatients were started. But anyway, that had nothing to do with being a counselor, right? Like I just was like, I know how to do this and I'm bored. So, and there's not a lot of downtime, but it would come in waves where it'd like be like, oh, I haven't eaten lunch for 5 months in a row because it's like so busy. But then there would just be like one day where there'd be nothing going on for 5 hours, and it's weird. So I think that overall, I can't imagine not having this flexibility. But I try to keep that in mind too for like my team. Like, people are always like, is it okay if my kid is here or there? And I'm like, are you serious? Why are we still asking these questions? People apologize a lot for when they have things, and I always tell them not to. But I also tell people too, like, when you're taking time off and stuff, just because you see me working a lot, first of all, my position is different. My stakes are different, but I'm also bad at this, so don't watch me with that, But I think if we're recreating jobs that are maybe more similar to corporate from our positions as entrepreneurs, if we can try to like maybe instill some of those ideas that are important to us in terms of flexibility and like work-life balance or having a family, then maybe eventually like future corporations will have that, which we're all seeking.
Yeah. I think you totally have a point there. And my next question to you is like, what's your take on the AI and crypto, right? AI and any crypto coins, and what's the, what can this? How should I say? Back then, I heard a saying is like finance and crypto. They had a one night stand, and then you have DeFi. So what if AI and crypto has a one night stand, and then what are you looking at? Because I know you are like really big in AI, right? So
Yeah. So, well, there's one thing I want to say off the bat. It's really even worse now, but it's always been an issue for the past like 5+ years, where people say something's AI and it's really just an algorithm. A lot of things are algorithms, and if that conditional statements doesn't have to always be that. There's a lot of things I think we could do even before we're talking about AI. AI in itself too has a wide range in terms of like what type you're talking about and what it can do. My biggest concern overall is like just complete delusion, right? So like we're all playing in our own sandbox in our backyard, and like nobody's buying any of the the cookies we're baking at the bake sale because we all have an oven. Like I don't know, like I think if we start flooding things, it's going to get to a point where like everybody stops participating at some point, and then it's probably going to get stopped by regulation, honestly, which would probably be a good thing because again, I don't know how far we can go with this, and that it's still going to be useful. I think I know you guys like to talk about tetherball with utility. I'm much more in the way of utility. I think if we're just making a bunch of it's almost like toy money if we're not doing anything with if we're not like doing anything with it. But I think AI and utility has much more opportunity for growth and sustainability. I mean, because otherwise, honestly, what Monopoly money? I got some Monopoly money. Who's got what other games do we have that have money nowadays, right? We could just all trade pieces of paper back and forth. Beanie Babies, that's a great thing. Like get a wash out. Pokemon cards. I mean, any of these things, right? I mean, I have some stuff from when I was a kid, and people are like, well, if you kept it since you were a kid, and I was like, yeah, but if I even just paid for storage for that long, or, if I kept $1 since I was in the bank in a regular savings account since I was a kid, it would go up more than these toys. Like, let's be serious. People as like a society have always wanted to trade things around for it being worth something. But when we're talking about something that's completely digital, you're going to lose a lot of people in the thing itself because they can't grasp it. So first we need to make meme coins, any type of crypto, be transactional so we can actually buy stuff with. That's going to help people have that like concrete feeling that they're missing. And then utility for the coins themselves. So because what's the difference between this one or that one? If we're going to like again, everybody could just keep making more. What's going to create a barrier to entry in the market if we don't add utility to these coins? And AI can really ramp up like utility in terms of making things faster. What I don't want to see is like manipulation of people and like a complete wash of like what's an AI versus not. There's a lot of tells now with AI. A lot of people can tell when something is in terms of like if it's marketing and stuff like that. But that's starting to go away very, very quickly from like a year or two ago. Now they're starting to have more like personalities. If we're talking about the how it's like interfacing with different social media and stuff. There's a lot of examples of craziness going on Twitter X right now. So yeah, this can go a lot of ways. Of all the dystopian nightmares I have, though, this is not one of them. I think there's enough people in this space with a lot of money and a lot of good ideas that we're gonna like save this like crypto. Yeah, I don't have such hopes for other parts of the economy.
Yeah, I don't know if you girls noticed this meme coin. Like I think it's from last week or 2 weeks ago. And then I think there's a meme coin called goat, like the goat, the animal. And it's AI launched. It's purely AI, right?
Yeah.
And then if you go to their Twitter, you just see all the AI generated AI generated shit talk.
It's so bad though, but very carefully, I want everybody to know this could be wrong information, but one of the tweets that outlined all of this says that a human oversees it. It tips so hard into like really nasty stuff. Even if the human's not watching it anymore, you code the personality into it.
That's a shit talk.
It's not just shit talk. It's like literal shit. Like we're not talking. This is like a whole nother level of nastiness. It gets worse every day. Some of the stuff, like God forbid if any children are on that page. And they are. Like there's stuff on there that I wish I never heard of or seen at my age. And I grew up like before the internet was like really policed. Like, it's, I don't know. You read it for like 2 minutes and you feel like you just went to like, I don't know. You had to like go down some back alley and somebody's like, okay, come around here. And then someone pulls around the curtain. They're like, you sure you want to go in? You can't come back once you do. And you're like, what did I just see? None of that is necessary either. So my concern is like, what is the real purpose of this? Because what does that have to do with anything? I get shit posting. I love shit posting. I really do. I get really into it at times. This is just like degradation and filth. And a little bit of it is fine, but it's getting really deep into some, I shouldn't have used that. So that's, if anybody's read it, they'll know that was a terrible analogy. Yeah, it's gross. It's gross. And I think I have a high tolerance for that stuff, but I don't know. It's
Yeah,
abusive, I think.
I think like, how should I say this? Like, I think it represents, because it did pump, right, from 0 to 400 million within 1 week. That is crazy. It did pump, and it shows that the general interest from the public in this space is kind of like going towards that direction, which is a bit sad. You know what I mean? Otherwise, it wouldn't get any popularity, right? So
yeah, I mean, I definitely, again, I think that there's like a line, but I think there's like a lot of posts on there that have literally like would be like illegal in most countries. The stuff that, like the smut, it's like really bad. Like, yes, Jenny.
So I'm lagging again. KUAN-NING was mentioned about it pump to, I did get in the wave. I swapped 5 Solana for it. Okay.
Nice.
But it pumped because people went in. It doesn't have anything to do with the AI. Okay. So people jump in to buy it. So when people buy it, it went up. Okay. And people pump it, it went up. But it also tanked. It tanked because people start dumping. So that's a clear proven that the AI has nothing to do with it going up or going down. Jen, unless you know something that I don't know.
AI is just
from a market making perspective.
Yeah. No, I don't think I can't say it's not involved with that because I haven't looked into that part enough. It could, so I'm not going to say it hasn't done anything on that side, but from what we see at like first glance, it has spent a lot of time posting though. And that's where they're getting people. I think also the founders, the human founders, when they started it, were building in public. So they got people going before it launched. But some of the initial posts were, raunchy, but like, okay. But I literally, I think it was just like a couple days ago, I looked, and I feel like it's going so far off the rails that I'm just wondering I don't know. Yeah, there is a lot of activity though. Like there's a lot of people jumping into it. It's almost like Andrew Tate's AI though. I hate to say that, but like it's that kind of like very negative against women. I think you can be raunchy and rude and still have like consent, and I don't see that there. I feel like it's going really off the rails really fast. It could be wrong. It could recourse that, but I'm just a little bit afraid of like teenagers and young guys in their 20s getting into this. And again, I really can tell you, people who know me, I'm not conservative in terms of like speaking about that stuff, and I'm pretty liberal with those types of things. So, but if anybody looks at, just scroll like maybe 4-page lengths, and you'll quickly see what I'm talking about. Versus like a couple of weeks ago, like it's the last couple of days, it's been intense.
yeah. What I was saying is that it pumped, and then I feel like people it's not promoting, but like the fact that this coin pumped, regardless it's AI or not, but the AI generated tweets are horrible, but people attracted to it. It's eye catchy, it's eye catchy, but sadly it's not eye catchy in a positive way, but in a really negative way, right? Like you said. And then that is what makes me really sad, because somehow it's just humanity, especially in this space,
Yeah, I mean, there was like a Howard Stern, and then there was like that sock puppet thing, the dog on like that comedy show. I'm trying to think of like back in there's always been things like that. But even though those things, I think that's, gets attention. It gets I wouldn't even say Howard Stern's anywhere like 1% as bad as this. Like this, maybe I just looked at a handful of really bad ones, but then you go into the comments too, and it's like, oh, stomach turning, but maybe it was also with the thing that just happened in France, and it's just, I'm feeling a lot of that energy. It's, I don't know. I think there's a way like I said, to like there's a lot of people like a lot of different things out there, but I just feel like there's like a lack of like there's bordering on things that would not be consensual. That's kind of where it's going. So
Yeah. So Jenny has a final question for you. So like so Jenny wanted to ask you, if you have one wish right now, what would that be?
oh man, my goals list is like 100 items long.
No, but just one though.
I
You need
know.
to
How am I
I cannot let you sleep
one?
away.
Oh, this is like the hardest question I've ever been asked in my life. This is harder than who am I? What do I want? Oh, come on, Jenny.
Madly in love and super wealthy. Well, Jenny, I know my answer, but Jen, I don't know yours.
Oh, I want to know KUAN-NING's answer too. I want to
Next
know her
time.
answer too.
What
I don't mind
level of
answering too.
super
All
are we
three of us got to answer.
Okay.
All
Well,
three of us got to answer this question.
Can we define the things we're picking from? Because it's something else. I'm like, this is kind of like there's too many options. My brain's like, all the things. Like, I can't focus on one because there's so many. I'm like, what are all the things I can pick from? Can I pick from world peace? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's too many.
No, you are
it's
not
for
really.
yourself.
Yeah.
I know, but
something,
money,
for
love, or
yourself.
what's another? Can we pick like a third one, like a definitive third choice, or no? So like,
No, just one
You
wish.
choose.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know.
Just one wish.
I know. I don't even know what to choose from, though. I'm trying to see. Like, I'm one of those people. I'm like, okay, so I get to, like, can I somehow hack the system where it's like, like the genie, right? So my first wish is for endless wishes. That's what I'm trying to like hack the system. Like, how can I combine all of these things into one answer?
No, come on, Jen. You can do
All right,
both.
I'm already madly in love, so I'll take super wealthy.
You already madly in love? What? Okay, I'm gonna cut the stream right now because a lot of people are gonna go
Wait. Jen chose what? Super wealthy?
Yeah.
Yes,
Did
because
Jen
she already
choose super
madly in
wealthy?
love.
Oh, she
Yes,
did.
because she's already
she's already madly in love.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. KUAN-NING, you gotta answer the same question, and then I don't mind answering too.
Of course, no brainer. I would choose super wealthy. No brainer. I mean, love can wait. Love will always comes and go, right? But
wow,
it's a feeling. It's just a feeling.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, it's too easy for me.
What do you guys what do you guys think my answer is gonna be? Take a wild guess.
Madly in love.
KUAN-NING, you said that? Wow.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think for me, Jen?
Well, I was gonna ask you too, how do you define super wealthy, right? But you've already achieved a lot in that
super
area.
wealthy.
So like, you're back and forth.
I would say
do the love thing. So I don't know.
I would say super wealthy would be north of $300 million for me. Right, that's super wealthy, right? But what do you? Okay, so what do you think? KUAN-NING said for me is madly in love.
Yeah.
What do you think that I want?
I think so too, because you probably from recent conversations, that's probably like the least attainable. You can get the money.
Yeah.
You're on that path. You don't need any help.
So I'm kind of like the reverse of you, right? You're already madly in love, so you wanted the super wealthy. Whereas I believe I'm financially fine, so I'm not madly in love. All right, so is it durable? I have no idea. Hope so. I'm already 300 years old, so I'm getting much older by the day. So I hope so. KUAN-NING is your show, so
wow.
I guess.
Wait, so that was it? We were right?
You're the host.
Oh man, RIP your DMs, Jenny.
Madly in love? Yeah. Well, Well, Kuan-Ning kind of gave it away because I think she knows me best. She has this intuition that she's usually quite accurate, like very, very accurate. It freaks me out sometimes. It's like I said, is she somewhere in hiding, on top of my ceiling or something? I have no idea, but
So funny.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
like
we need a dating show. Like, can we make some bots that will basically weed out a bunch of people in a way that's super personalized to you, and then we could have them come up and like do questions and answers. I'm sorry, I'm too like I'm just like we need to like plow through. There's too many people. We got to narrow this field down. The best of the best, right? You don't have time for this. That's the thing, right? It's
oh
time
my God.
consuming to find somebody.
Yeah,
I swore up dating apps and then somebody like matched me. Like if that didn't happen, I would still be like, screw this. We gotta get you a matchmaker, Jenny.
100%. Oh my God, I'm so excited. If that happens, send me in, okay? Just for the sake of being on, because love comes and goes anyhow. So, like the other day, like my friend Nicole, she showed me a reel, and there was a talk show, and then the woman was talking about, you know what? Somebody should just like aggregate all the dating app together and then call the app What's Left. I'm like, okay. But I don't know you. I find it funny. I mean, because I'm also on the market, right? I'm okay. I'm really okay. So, yeah. But anyhow, yeah.
have you ever been on a dating app, Jen?
Yeah, they can't use them.
You can't use them?
It's
Why?
exhausting.
I
Everybody gets mad at you. Like
I've never.
I try replying to somebody while I'm still on the app. Like, first of all, I would never go on more than like every couple days. But then you go on and you're like, whoosh, and then okay, so like if I'm replying to one person, then while I'm waiting for them, I'm looking to start replying to somebody else. Come back. Why are you taking so long to reply, dude? It's been like 3 seconds. Like
Oh
I'm
my
not
God.
even like no, we're not doing that. Like you need to be able to wait days because I'm about to sign off here, not be back for days. You're getting mad that I just like like we have some serious problems. Like there's this idea that like they own your time if you once you respond. I'm like I can't. Not I will say there are some nice guys out there, but it's not worth it. Like I can't do it. It's so insane.
Jenny?
Well, what I was gonna say is that I've never ever been on a dating app. Never ever. I don't even know how it works. And then a couple years ago, somebody found me, like my picture, my profile. I had to send out a tweet. I said, yeah, just like I think 2 days ago, somebody else did. That contact that person. Just don't get catfish. Because I don't know where Kuan-Ning is at, but in America, there's that show called Catfish.
Yeah,
it's the show called Catfish. I say don't get catfish.
Yeah, there's that issue too. That
Yeah,
happened.
Yeah,
that happened to me a couple years ago too. And I'm like, yeah, I have kids. That's not me. But it's you don't want it, Jenny. Don't do it. It's like the seventh circle of hell. Like I don't.
I won't.
It's not good for women. It's not. Everybody's very demanding, and they don't like. You got to get rid of somebody because they, forgot to like put a capital letter somewhere because it's the only way to. There's too many. You can't. There's like 1,000 million gazillion men, and they all want your attention, and you're like, you got to you're just like knocking people out for the stupidest reason. Just try to narrow it down, and then you're like trying to swim above the. It's impossible. It's impossible. You're on it for a week, and you can never control. It's done. After a week, you're like, I can't do this. I'm done.
Jenny, you want to say something?
So there's one logical reason why I'm not on dating app. Number one, I would freak out to meet a stranger somewhere because I could get kidnapped. I could get whatever. That's the reason why I don't get on dating apps. Second of all, I'm not attracted to pictures. I heard like swipe left, swipe right, or whatever the case may be, because some of my friends, they've done it, and they say, Jenny, the person that they saw on the picture is not the person that they met, right? and then like I said, is it like a 10 and a 9? They said, no, Jenny, a 10 and like a 2. I said, 2? Holy shit. So it's like, and then so when one of my friends met the guy in person, and he was like 3 times the size that he was on picture. So I say, ew, that's just like disgusting. So I'm more attracted to like meeting somebody in person. Like, you know, I gotta see, you know, how they move and stuff like that. But anyway, so back to KUAN-NING.
Interesting. No, that's it. I find it really, really interesting. Am I on dating app though? I don't know, but yeah, I think it was really good.
Landscapers are here. Talk about timing. Now that you guys are going to hear me, it's going to be like,
No.
sorry about that.
It's good. Oh my God, I know it. Like when we are talking about dating app, there's one person who showed up from our community. Without looking at comment, who do you think that?
Oh wait, I did it. Oh my God, I haven't been looking at these the whole time.
Don't look at that. Just have a guess. If you are talking about dating app, who's gonna show up?
Yeah, of course.
Take a guess.
Who?
I cheated, but I'm not surprised.
Oh, Sam.
Sam is such a pro.
You know what? I
You don't get 2, Sam.
I might make him
buy it. 2 a minute.
I might make him turn pink now. But I think Sam is a good-looking guy. I think I told KUAN-NING this before. So Sam, you just heard from me. You know,
and
so
he's
I have
nice.
not met Sam in person.
Yep. Sam,
He's
you're
super
gonna be
nice.
fine.
Super nice. Uh-huh.
Super
apps.
I'm gonna say, based on some stories I've heard, Sam, you're just going after the wrong girl. That I'm just gonna leave it right there.
Okay, this year I might go back to
Alright.
Taiwan just to shortly visit my family and stuff. And I know Sam is facing Taiwan. Then Jenny, I will verify for you if he's legit. And we will go from there. Yeah, we'll go from there. Amazing. Okay, yeah, I think that was a really nice conversation, and thank you so much, and Jan, for being with us. So finally, like the final question, I would like to finalize it with the question in a comment. So what's your best advice to be an entrepreneur?
So you have to pick something that you're really passionate about, but you also have some knowledge about. So I think most founders pick one or the other. They're like, I'm really good at doing this, I'm going to do this, but there's no problem to be solved. And then so they like ask people, well, what can I do? And then people give them ideas, but it's not their idea. They're not interested in it. And so once stuff gets hard, which it gets hard a lot and often, they're like, you know, and they drop it. And the other one is people like, you know, having an idea, but having no idea about the space. And so like they've got no background in that, and that, you know, they're starting from nothing, which can sometimes work if you're coachable. But a lot of founders aren't. So, you know, if you're not willing to like really build up a strong like advisory team and like find out that stuff that you don't know and then take the advice that you get, that's another fail. So you have to have at least some experience in the field that you're going into, and then, you know how to execute on that. Healthcare is a great example. Everybody thinks they're going to go into healthcare apps.
Crazy.
It's a swamp out there, but yeah, that's what I would say. I think Jenny had some thoughts on that. I want to know Jenny's advice. Would you say those are fair points? Because I think you had a thought there.
My best advice to be an entrepreneur is that you really, really have to have the conviction, because you love to be wealthy. But that does not necessarily mean that you're greedy for money. Like that's where I'm at right now. I just had this conviction that I want to get to a certain level of net worth, and unless somebody comes out of the blue and I'm madly in love, it's gonna take me to somewhere else. But if there's not there, I don't care who's who or who drops off. I can steer this tether ball by myself, if that's even the case, because that's just
Verify.
how convicted I am of getting there. So that's my answer for Dave, is that you've got to have that conviction to be successful. And a part of being successful is wealth. That's all it is, wealth. Okay? So the only thing that's second or beats that is madly in love, right? And so
Men say power.
until I find that, right, until that comes in somewhere, but my conviction, it's in me that I will get there no matter what. That's how conviction I am of being the entrepreneur. I think you can hear it in my tone.
Yeah, we can totally. It's like the pure passion coming out from your stomach, and then yeah. But well, thank you, Jen. Thank you, Jenny, for sharing all of your experiences. Every time when I host, anybody with Jenny is just like so mind blowing, and then I just really enjoyed every hour that I spent here as well. Especially Jen, you are in the community. You bring a lot also on the table. Really appreciate that, right? So thank you so much for your time, and to the 200 people who are watching, a little bit more than 200 people. Yeah, so I would really love to host you another time as well. Apparently we have a lot to talk about as well, because Jenny, today I haven't talked about your zodiac sign. So
Oh my God,
What is your zodiac sign?
I'm a Gemini.
Oh, you're a Gemini.
Yeah.
Are you a Gemini, Jen?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
And I'm 100% Gemini.
There's one person that popped up. There's one person that popped up in my head as a Gemini. Okay.
Oh no.
Very cool.
Okay, then thank you both.
It's good. Gemini is an air. Okay, anyway, KUAN-NING, thank you.
Thank you, and we'll see each other next time, yeah?
Sounds good.
Ciao, ciao. Hello everyone. Today super excited because I have a really special co-host today. Actually, he will be my guest. So he is I would say you are more like an influencer already in the space, Sam. And I know you don't have like really big following, but like we have been connecting since a while. And what I have observed is that whatever you post, you have really high engagement rate. And those kind of things, if you see traditional influencers, they normally don't get it as well, even though they have like 100K, 200K of like followers, they don't have genuine engagement. So I will still name you as an influencer. However, since you're heavily involved in Web3, and you are also one of the lead ambassador of TBALL meme coin. So that is why we have you today to talk about your Web2 experience and also your Web3 experience as well. So very excited. Sam, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Super excited.
Awesome. Thank you very much, KUAN-NING. Yeah, so I'm Sam. I'm from Hong Kong, and I grew up in the UK. And I was based in Hong Kong for a while, and then I got into Web3, and now I'm based in Taipei, which is where you're from.
Yeah, now I'm so ducks. Like I thought like people just gonna know that I'm living in Europe. Right now people also know I'm also from Taiwan. But it's great. So how's life going? And then so you are from Hong Kong. What brought you into Taiwan, or general story?
I guess basically I grew up in the UK. I started working around there, and then I basically got my studies and started working in the UK, and then I kind of learned a bit about ad tech, advertising on the online digital side. And then I brought some stuff back to Hong Kong, and that's when we started working in Asia. and that was quite a journey. I'll say it might be a bit of a long one, but it's quite fun. And eventually, I found out that I made someone very rich because I was building something for them. And then I was working in digital media, and at the same time started looking into other opportunities in digital ads, marketing for affiliates, marketing for network marketing, and then eventually in big data.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so like brought me back to like your childhood. Like you grew up in UK. Where about?
So in the UK, I was in the south of the UK. It's in a state called Surrey, and Surrey is it's pretty much like countryside. So you have I actually grew up in a village. So you have a village, you have like 2 supermarkets. That's about it, and that's boarding school. So very typical of Asian kids getting shipped out for studying and stuff like that. And then eventually for university, I moved to London, and that's when I went to UCL, and that's where I started having more Chinese friends, and eventually, yeah, and then started working in London.
Yeah, I was about to ask you, like, were you the only Asian in southern UK back then? Because it sounds like.
Yeah, pretty much like I'll say like in the school, there's probably like 5 Asian people.
Wow, like were you a gang or like you are more like, I don't know, in a mixed group?
Definitely a mixed group. So I find that in the UK, like the Chinese, they always hang around with Indians.
What? Why? No, come on, really?
It's just because of the eating habits are very close by, and also like there's a lot of African guys, so there's a lot of guys from Nigeria. They're pretty rich kids because they're like royalties.
Mm-hmm. Wow. And why your parents shipped you to UK?
Good question. So in Hong Kong, the education system is very packed. So you're having school, and then you have like after school studies and stuff like that, and then eventually you'll find that you go to school, but you have like no other time to do anything else. Extracurriculum is like all planned for. So like Tiger Moms, right? They plan like your Monday to Friday, daytime you go to school, afternoon you do your after study course and stuff like that, and then you do sports. So I only have like sports like time at night to do sports. So you do swimming, you do a bit of learning in the weekends and stuff like that. So my parents have always brought me up as you can just try a bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That is not typical. Uh-huh.
yeah, when it comes to like something that you're quite competitive with, then they would actually force you to like go practice like every day basically.
Yeah. So like, do you think that is what sparked your entrepreneurial spirit?
Technically, no. Technically, I don't think I know much about entrepreneurship until so basically I went to work in London, right? I was just looking for work because my dad said, "Oh, you finish your study, you should go find some work in the UK." And so I did. And it was the time after the dot-com bubble burst. And then by that time, I just said, "Okay, let's go find something related to stats." So I studied stats at school. And
Yeah.
then so eventually the UK system has actually brought me to a decent background, decent education. And then I just thought, yeah, let's just find something to do. And then at that time, it's the right time to boom for the online business. So I didn't do any online business. I was just learning about advertising, learning about how to use ad tech. And then eventually, boom, every company that I joined, they got acquired. So the first company I joined, they got acquired by Facebook.
No way. Did you have a lot of shares?
No, obviously I
No.
was a very junior person, right? And then the second company I worked for, it was a European company under internet company. They got acquired by Google.
No way. Oh my God. What's happening? So you are with Terrible Meme Coin. I hope at some point we got acquired as well.
Exactly. I hope so. I hope I'm the lucky charm there. So
It was.
eventually I took all my learnings from like the client side, the media side, and stuff like that. And then this guy from Malaysia, he hired me back to Hong Kong. He said, "Oh, I'm starting this new network advertising company. I need you because you're doing that in Europe." I'm like, "Okay." and that was it. So I moved back to Hong Kong after like spending 16 years in the UK.
Oh my God. Like, okay, so like how was the working environment in Europe back then? Like, did you like it? And you know, how's it going?
It was funny. So I was in a European company. So we have a lot of French guys, we have a lot of German guys. And then yeah, eventually I got along with South Africans, I got along with Indians, I got along with Egyptian people. So we were pretty, you know, multicultural.
Oh my God. Like, where are the British people?
There's some, but they're like in departments which are safer departments like BD and stuff like that. So we did get along, but like the bosses, it's funny. So there was this MD guy for the UK. So the boss is in Germany or France normally, and then he was like, every Friday he would bring out the beers, and he'll say, "Hey," he'll call up my work phone and say, "Sam, I'll give you 10 minutes. You come down to the pub." I'm like, "What?" "Finish up and then bring the guy next to you." I'm like, okay. So we always end up in a pub every Friday.
Oh my God. So like back then when I traveled to UK and I see all those like drunk British guys, one of those are your group probably.
It's yeah, because it's happy hour and they go on till like 11 when there's no tube back home. So they would drink and then move to another location and drink again and stuff like that. And then I'm like, is there any food? Yeah, chips. I'm like, that's not food, that's just snacks, fries and stuff like that. So it's funny. Eventually, you know, I got sick and tired of it because obviously I grew up in the UK, so I'm used to going to the pubs and stuff like that. But then that was when I thought, you know, I've spent enough time in the UK. The food is terrible, so I had to cook my own food. The money you're getting,
you can cook. So you can cook.
The basic stuff like seafood and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And then,
Okay.
and then eventually I find out the tax in the UK is pretty high. So I you know, I'm still a junior guy. I've only been working there for like 2-3 years, and I was like, hey, I get my salary and like half of it's taxed.
Yeah.
I'm like, shit, I'm really poor. But it's standard of living in London is actually quite expensive. And you know, by the time I moved back to Hong Kong, I thought, oh wow, everything's much cheaper over here, right? And also the tax.
Can you adjust the cultural difference? Because I assume you are more westernized than, you know, most of the people already. Can you adjust that? Or
It's actually not that bad actually, because I'm used to going back to Hong Kong like maybe 3 times a year, 2 times maybe. And eventually I have a lot of Hong Kong friends because when I went to uni, I went to London, which there was loads of Chinese guys over there. But back then it was mostly guys from Hong Kong, a few from Taiwan, a few from China. But now it's like mostly from China. So in London, I have a lot of Chinese friends because I was running a Chinese student union, and I was the president there. So I have to organize a lot of activities and stuff like that. So I find it actually quite fun to hang out with Chinese guys again. But I had a bit of catch up to do because my Chinese was not good enough.
yeah, we will see about that when we meet privately, you know, sometimes like we can test it out and I would just like put out a score.
Okay, yeah, that's decent. Yeah, so when I got back to Hong Kong, it was quite funny because yeah, I had this Malaysian boss, and then he was like, oh, he's in representing big websites like MSN, AOL in Hong Kong and stuff like that. So he's from the proper .com bubble burst period. So I went back and I was like telling him what I was doing with Facebook, what I was doing with the ads and the clients in the UK and stuff like that. And he's like, yeah, exactly. Just copy that over here. So we built an ad network, and about Hong Kong, around 90% of the media actually worked with us.
Wow. It was very easy. And what did you do there? Like automation or what? Like,
yeah, basically no one was using Google Ads back then. So I just took all the websites, signed an agreement with them, and then started sharing ads with them. So I have a lot of clients on my hand. The clients are very basic clients that needed conversions. So back then we had to educate the client why they have to like put in tracking pixels onto their website, because eventually that would mean getting better yields, getting better KPIs, getting better conversions for them. So that's what happened. And then smartphones appeared.
It sounds like you are like, I don't know, 100 years old, but like, okay, keep going.
Well, it's still the online era, right? Okay.
Yeah,
So
okay.
then we had phones. We had to track different phones and stuff like that. And then we had apps as well. So we were like picking up all these different jargons from, oh, how do you track the user ID of Android? How do you track the user ID of Apple, iOS, and stuff like that? So it was actually quite fun because I had to keep designing weird stuff, weird tech, in order to get that data. And then eventually everyone picked up the same thing because Google acquired a lot of the middleman system in the exchange when we moved on to programmatic. And then I thought I did not have any, kind of like expertise anymore, because you can hire a kid, they can spend 2 days on YouTube and they'll know more than me.
It is true, right, nowadays.
So that's the big data period. And big data means you're targeting the people, you're targeting females, you're targeting the age group, you're targeting their interests and stuff like that. I was like, wow, data, ad tech, martech, all combined together. That's when you bring in the CRMs and stuff like that, and then you kind of link it up to different stuff. I was like, I know the tech, but now it's all under one umbrella. We're actually losing ground because like clients, they do not need to spend with us anymore. They used to target like, oh, I'm targeting all the car websites or car apps. I'm targeting all the female fashion stuff. Now they can just target users who are interested in fashion instead. So by that time, I thought, our company in Asia, we had around 200-ish people, and we had around 4 countries: Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore, and Taiwan market. And then I thought we're losing our niche, and then something happened.
What, like Jesus? No.
It got acquired by an entrepreneur in the States.
No, you're joking. Oh my God. Terrible is so about to be acquired.
So yeah, exactly. So that entrepreneur, he has 17 different companies around the world. And yes, some of them are actually CRM systems. Some of them are in Bluetooth technology. Some of them are. So we're trying to link up the whole big picture together.
Wow. Okay.
But
Did you
eventually, in Asia, we got no business. We're busy like developing stuff for Europe and stuff like that.
Oh my God. Okay, so we got a question. We got a question here. So, what do you think about? I don't know what is that. I have to be very honest.
Emoji.
After being about, oh, is that emoji?
Maybe, I'm not sure.
Okay, what do you think about this one after being with so many companies that got acquired? What does it mean?
It's just tech companies are like that. So if you have something that someone else wants, they don't want to build another one. They just want to buy you out. Sometimes they just use your service, right? So I deal with a lot of vendors because obviously I have to understand what they can do and what they can bring into our campaigns, into our client side, media side, and stuff like that. So tech companies are like that. Eventually, you'll build something, and if there are no competitors or if you're exceeding, then someone else would buy in and then bring you in-house. So that's what Google has done when they started launching their first ad exchange, start launching their first data management platform and stuff like that. So there's a lot of jargon that's totally gone because it's all under Google Ads now.
True. And do you think like those companies buy other like smaller companies to kind of like put them in the code closet or really operating them? Because I know a lot of big companies just like, for instance, back then Instagram wanted to buy Snapchat, right? I believe they didn't want the tag, they just wanted to kill it. So what do you think about this? Like which scenarios happen mostly?
it'll be good if they can just acquire a company and take their tech. If they don't take their tech and just kill it, then you're not doing anything useful for the users, right? If you're learning from the tech and merging it into another platform, that's fine. That's exactly what companies like Meta have done. They've acquired companies like Facebook acquired Instagram, and then they acquired WhatsApp and stuff like that. So they've actually taken the tech, and obviously they didn't kill it because it's a rising platform. So they've actually strengthened it, tied it back to the audience network and the ad server. So everyone's interlinked. Once you're logged into Facebook or Instagram, I know which user you are, right? Oh, M&A. Wow.
Yeah. Okay, so back to your personal stories. Like, so you were back to Hong Kong. The company you joined again got acquired, and then what did you do afterwards? Like in this season of your life, was that the most successful Web2 experience back then, or like what was the kind of?
So as a SME, a small medium-sized enterprise, it was, but obviously that acquisition didn't make me very rich. It made my Malaysian boss very rich, so that was very happy for him. And I eventually saw that he got financial freedom because of the fact that he's been brewing this baby for a long time, and he sold it at the right time. So if he sold it like 2 years later down the line, it wouldn't be worth as much. And to be honest, I've learned one or two things about you have to keep learning. You can't teach old dogs new things, but you can make them keep learning. So I started studying for data science, and that's when I got into big data. And eventually, I did not work for big data at all because I've just been buying data and selling data. That was it.
So you're one of those.
I just learned a background about big data, right? And that was quite funny because that phase I was trying to study, but at the same time, other people are knocking at my door because they want me to join the media companies. So I had like 3 offers from different companies because we've been working with them for over 10 years. So in the market, a lot of people just say, Sam, you should just leave your company now because it's going down. Come join us. We've got a new position or new department. You should head it up and stuff like that. So it was quite funny. So eventually I joined a pretty old company, 120 years old.
Okay.
Before joining, it's already been acquired.
Sadly.
So it got acquired by Alibaba.
No way! Oh my god!
So it's an English media company. It's called South China Morning Post. So I went into this old company, but it felt very new because it's very tech orientated now. And it was pretty fun because you join a big company, you come from a small company, and then that's how large corporate company works. The CEO back then, he's the same age as I was. And the reason why I kind of, I was like, it's flipping stuff, flipping companies. That's exactly what my the boss in the US was doing. Actually, he was building companies and then selling it a few years later. So he was doing that a lot, and then he got very famous in Hollywood and around that area as well. So so in a big corporate world, my role is quite funny. So I was in the advertising marketing solutions department. So I deal with a lot of vendors, media. It's actually in-house media now, and sometimes clients. So it's all about internal meetings. But then I find it really funny that the way they placed me is because they have foreigners who are like head of departments, and then they have the very local guys who are like head of sales and stuff like that. So I was like in between them. So I have to like go hang out with them every Friday. And it was like UK again. I have to go down Friday, 5 p.m. I'm like, let's go grab a drink.
Yeah, of course. Back to the old days.
And it was really funny because like they have this pub area, which is right next to the newsroom. So the newsroom is super busy with editors, people building graphics and stuff like that. And then like next to them, we're like drinking like cheers and like pouring beers and stuff like that. It was quite funny, but it was an interesting time because it made me learn that, you know, being a director in a big company, you can't really climb any more ladders because you're already at the head of a team or a department, and then the CEO is, you know, he's hired from the States because he was a CEO in the Silicon Valley already. So I eventually thought, you know, that's one of the main turning point, which I have to look into like other stuff, because if you keep working in a large corporate job, yeah, you pretty much don't have any time for anything else.
Wow. Yeah, like I think okay, there is a quote I read before, it was saying like the companies you work for, they just pay you well enough to kill your dreams. What do you think about that? I don't know. What do you think about that? No comment.
I'll say that it depends what your dream is, right? I mean, the standard dream for someone in Hong Kong is to buy a flat. Okay, so I bought a property. I have a very small property. It's two bedrooms, very small. It's in decent location. But then you're paying for it like every month because you paid down payment, right? And then you're paying for it like all the time. And then eventually you find out you have no money left because of family's expenses and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why we have to invest. If we have like zero investment, then that's just like, oh, I've spent all my money this month. I'll have to wait till next month. And that's one of the, you know, crucial things about like living in big cities, living in cities where your expense is high. And that happens to a lot of people. They have to rent their place. They have to find something. They have no other dream apart from like maybe go watch a movie or something, right?
Yeah,
So,
I know.
So that's when I started looking into stocks. I started investing into stocks as well because I didn't know. I was just like trying other things out because your salary is just going to be the same like 5 years down the line with an increment.
So you diverse your portfolio while working for this newsroom.
Yeah. So eventually, that was funny. So I was investing into Hong Kong stocks. I didn't like it because it was very small. So it's in you buy a bit and then it rises a bit and then you sell it, and that was very slow. And then eventually I looked into US stocks, and then I came across Tesla, and it actually grew quite a bit back then.
Did you sell at the highest point?
At almost highest.
That was like 3 years ago, right? 2 or 3
Yeah.
years ago, I remember. Yeah.
And then eventually I came in across another stock. It's called GameStop.
No, you didn't. Oh my God.
So within 2 days, I won a bit of money. And then I started buying other electrical vehicle stocks. And then they all went down. And I said, fuck it. Let's just bring a bit of that and put it in crypto.
Oh, so that is how you came across crypto?
Yeah.
And okay, so you kind of like, okay, you came across crypto. Did you quit your like Web2 job already back then? Because you kind of like saved because of Tesla stock or like GameStop? No, I'm joking.
Yeah. So
really?
It was quite a good period for me because like you started investing, you have more friends who are investors. You have friends who are, you know, looking for different things to chase dreams, or maybe just get a bit of liquidity to change the car, or maybe buy something for the family. And then eventually I started growing a business group in Hong Kong, which is the network marketing business. And then that became something that I've started learning about how to leverage other people's time, other people's knowledge. And eventually I got a huge group in Hong Kong, and they started doing basically weekly. I would say they'll be doing weekly. They'll be doing a lot of activities and stuff like that. I'm like, that's actually quite fun. And what do we call it? We call it a community.
I mean, honestly, I think community in Web3 is really already exists in Web2, and you just call it differently. It's your audience, your, I don't know, customers, XYZ, whatever, you know?
So whenever you bring in the word community, it means they're not clients anymore. They're stakeholders. They're involved. They have self-belonging. They have thoughts. and then you can share that out. If it's working, then you can get a few people to be a committee and then do whatever they want. So we have F&B guys, we have guys from finance, we have guys from a lot of different marketing sectors and different areas, and we're working towards a common goal. And
Yeah,
that's
so
when, yeah, that's when I started learning from Web3, because I started buying all these NFTs. I did not know why I was doing that, but I thought it was cute.
Wait, so you had the success in Web2 world, which is, first of all, from a corporate perspective, right? You were in this really big company. You are head of XYZ. I don't know what did you do there, and then you traded stocks, which I would say back then you didn't have the financial freedom. Did you?
No, it's just
no.
money.
Okay, just spending money back then, and then you came across Web3. Yeah, and then you hop on the trend.
Yeah.
And then just never get off.
Well, to be honest, Web3 for me now, it's a bit like an investment, but in the same time, I like it because of the utility, right? Because I'm speaking crypto to you, that means we're in the same circle.
Yeah, it is. Okay, so there is a really interesting question coming up now. It says a lot of NFTs are considered dead now. Are you still hodler forever, or like, what do you think about it?
A very good question, Ape King. So someone asked me yesterday, right? They asked me, oh, Justin Bieber bought these 3 NFTs. One was the Bored Ape, another one was the Merge, and then another one was another really expensive artwork. I would say it was not worth that much money at that time. It shouldn't. But now, maybe, because it's like joining a club. You have to pay to join a club. So maybe back then it was all the hype with the celebrities, and the utility is just to get in the right group. But at the same time, that was too expensive back then. But nowadays, it depends on the utility. Does it give you anything else back apart from, you look cool in that PFP? Does it give you staking? Does it give you more coins? Does it give you more access? If it does, then yeah, you would eventually think, oh, instead of buying a Bored Ape, which is quite expensive, I'll buy a Mutant Ape because I'm still in the same ecosystem, but I'll get less coins back, which is also fine. So it's all about returns. I have a lot of friends who are actually flipping these NFTs. And by every NFT they flip, they don't make tons of money. They're flipping lots at the same time. So it's still good profit for them. But how do you catch that trend?
Yeah, keep going.
It's like buying stocks, right? If you buy one stock and it went up quite a lot, you'll sell it. But if you bought like 100 of those stocks, and then eventually it went up 10%, maybe you'll sell like 1 or 2. And then it goes up another 25%, you'll sell 1 or 2. So eventually that's how you have the mentality. If it goes up, it's very good. But a lot of the projects I've held till 0. That's right.
Oh, I love your honesty. A lot of honestly, those NFT maxis, they were just no, bragging a lot and stuff. I love people just really give transparency, right? Because I also remember that I bought Pudgy, the Leo Pudgy, Leo Penguin, probably a couple of months ago when the bull run people say was about to start. And then do you remember that back then people said Pudgy is gonna lead the next bull run. It's not gonna be the ape. So I Pudgy in, Penguin in, whatever. I bought 2 ETH or something, but right now it's also half of the price, right? And I mean, am I complaining? No, but did I make friends? Probably yes, because I have you right now, right? So
yeah, so that's the connection that you actually make. Yeah, I bought a little Pudgy when I was very low. It was like 0.3 something, and
damn,
yeah,
hurts.
Now the funny story is, I could have bought the big penguin when it was like 2 ETH.
Jeez, but you didn't, did you?
I didn't. So I kept attending all these. So local, we have local meetups. So there was a cool cat person that was shilling me for 2 years. Like the penguin's gonna do this in Web 2. They're gonna go up to the moon and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, let me buy a little Pudgy. So I did, and I went to one of the events. So it was a main event in Hong Kong, and then the Penguin team came across, and then the Penguin team was like, "Oh, so how did you get into Penguins?" I'm like, "This guy shilled me for like 2 years, so I have to buy one." And he was like, "Oh," and then he was taking notes. He pulled out his notebook. He's like, "Oh, let's take notes. Oh, this guy got shilled by 2 years, and then he bought a Penguin." So that was actually a funny story. That's how in real life meetups actually matters, because you feel that the presence is, around, and secondly, they are building stuff, so you'll listen more into the project, and that's
Yeah,
what
and also,
happened. So I bought a big Penguin eventually. A big Penguin.
oh my god, how much did you buy it? Tell me.
The big Penguin, I bought it for like I don't know, like 11 Eve or something like that back then.
Oh god. And well, how much is it now? I forgot.
It's around 10 point something floor price right now.
Not so bad.
Yeah, so it's all about like listening to the right projects and what they are doing in Web 2, what they are doing in Web 3, and then what's the next thing that's going to come up. So once you're in that, I found a lot of these NFT communities, they've done great jobs in Asia, because they have like so many crypto events, right? So they would host like a side party everywhere, and then the Penguin team would come down. Well, obviously, it's a Penguin Asia team because I'm attending all these events in Asia, and then they would throw like really fun parties, really good merch, and then eventually the next group that did that was actually Azuki. So
Oh really?
they now have like the biggest events in Singapore, in Japan, and stuff like that, because obviously their theme is different. They're not the cute toy related theme. They did all the anime stuff. So that's very Japan related, getting the right voice actors in the production and stuff like that. So I actually find that when you buy into a project, you don't actually care about the price unless you hold like 100 of them. Then you do.
Yeah.
But you're buying in because you want to be in it. You're in that project, and when you're in a project, you don't actually care about the floor price. You want to hold it, and then get more, and then get more free stuff, get more airdrops, and then share it. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, so a lot of the people in the community, they would build their own brands around it. They would build like clothing merch. They would build like communities based on that NFT, and eventually, I don't know, coffee, tea, everything. And that's actually something that Bored Ape started, because they started licensing. And then Penguin started licensing. They have a platform to license your IP out. So that was quite fun.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, I think in the end of the day, community is what really get people emotionally attached and then forget about to sell their NFTs in the end. Yeah, so this guy, Bitcoin Fortune, he said like he bought Paji at Walmart. So I think like honestly, why I bought Paji a couple months ago was really because I see Luca, he was a big e-commerce guy, right? And then he cut the deal with brick and mortar stores such as Walmart. I think they are really onto something, because if you're really leveraging your IP and then producing merch and actually making money, I think this project is like quite legit compared to, like, in my eyes, I'm not an ape person, right? But I'm going to Ape Fest. So I don't know. What do you think about like the community aspect and then like how Paji operating their project? I think it's quite genius, personally.
It's very important to have Web 2 in the picture, because if you keep building in Web 3, everything's digital assets like coins and points or whatever, right? You're basically building a point system, but the point system is useless unless it's something that you're going to get something more rare. You're going to get something more coins, more drop, or something like that. So eventually, Web 2 is a part of something that Web 3 should have, but at the same time, how do you tie it back to Web 2? When you have Web 2, that means people are going to be supporters. You have to give supporters something for them to support in. Maybe such as a stuffed animal, maybe in terms of clothing, maybe in terms of fashion, in music, and stuff like that. So yeah, eventually we have a lot of different NFTs going to different directions. Yeah, exactly. Movies, right? So Doodles just launched a short clip of their movies as well. So Doodles is another OG cute PFP profile picture, and they did that just recently, about a few weeks ago, and yeah, So people are actually buying in when you have Web 2 kind of production going on. And when you have these production going on, it means you're not dead. However cheap your PFP floor price is, you're still growing. You're still cooking something. You're brewing something. And that's when people would actually move in. Whales would sweep, tens, hundreds of these just because of a single news. And that's exactly the same as the stock market. There's always speculators who are looking at, oh, what's this company going to do next? Oh, they're building into AI. Oh, they're building into electrical vehicles. They'll think about that, and that would affect the price as well. So it's quite fun to see, the projects that you support, and they eventually get into Web 2 because like more people would recognize that PFP. They would recognize it. They think that it's like the Marvel, the Disney of Web 3. So you own the copyright, the IP of Captain America, and I own the IP of like Elsa from Frozen.
Elsa.
That's
Okay.
eventually where we're going to get to. But I'll say Web3 is just basically not just about IPs, not just about crypto, not just about NFTs. It's just a technology. It's like back then when you on the .com and then smartphones came and then apps came along. So you find, apps, there's actually a lot of stuff that you can do, which websites can't do. So it's a different tech language.
Yeah, I want to ask you, what do you think is the most effective and practical let's say approach to integrate into Web3?
Web3 to Web2, and actually a lot of companies have failed. So there's a lot of big companies like Web2 companies like Travel, for example. There's a lot that tried to launch an NFT project. They actually gave a lot of benefits to the holders, but to be honest, the crowd is too small. So these are like beta testers. So they got like more coins, they got more benefits when they book the flights or hotels, but eventually that's not enough noise. So you need to have people who have a lot of noise. So funny story. So one time what I did was in my Hong Kong business group, I had this guy. He had a brewery of craft beer. And then, so one of the main guy, he said, oh, why don't you just give me some NFTs? I'll print it on my beers. I'm like, okay. And I posted it online on Twitter. And then this director came along. He's like, oh, I'm coming for Ape Fest in Hong Kong. I'd like to do an interview with you guys. I'm like, why? Oh, you're using the IP. That was before we had Made by Apes licensing. And then I'm like, okay, sure. And then eventually he said, well, I'm going to do this whole documentary on Ape Fest, on different people doing different products and stuff like that. I'm like, wow, that's cool. So eventually, without my post, this director wouldn't have got in touch with this brewery or the beer that we launched for Bored Apes.
Oh my God.
And that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like a lot of people, they don't have the right exposure. If you post something, you're a KOL in Hong Kong, in Taiwan, that director is not going to see it. He's from the States. He's not going to know about it. So it's all a butterfly effect of having the right people, having it at the right time, posting the right stuff.
Yeah, like I think also that is how important like the people like us, right, international kind of networking people to be in no matter Web2 or Web3, right? Because I think it's interconnected in many ways. And yeah, like you said, influencer marketing is really critical. Like, are you targeting local audience? Are you targeting like international audience as well? So we have a question to you, Sam. Would you rather run $1 billion company or have $1 billion in your bank and be retired?
Good question. If I have $1 billion company, depends on how much time do I have to spend on it. Because there's a lot of rich guys who have no time because, yeah, they're always managing stuff. They're managing, department heads, and then department heads are managing managers, and managers are managing execs and stuff like that. So it depends on what kind of system is that company running. Is it going to be something that's going to be self-run? so I can go play golf during the daytime.
Do you play golf?
I do, but not that much.
Okay, I was about to ask your handicap, but let's just keep it like that. Keep going.
Okay, and if you have $1 billion in your bank, it depends on your portfolio, right? How are you going to diversify, or you don't really care because you're financially free already, right? So I would totally say that I'm not a rich guy. I just have spare money which I throw around, and that's it. And I would say, yeah. So if it's $1 billion company that I can run without being there, perfect. That's the best, right? It's running. I can look into it, and at the same time, I don't have to be there all the time. That's location freedom, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think like nowadays, like the older I grow, like the more, how should I say, time value to me, right? Like, do I get time to do this live stream with you? Do I get time to text in a WhatsApp group with the community, right? Those kind of things, it takes time and also like takes brain capacity as well. I think nowadays people really underrated how much effort you are spending in projects. I think right now in this season of my life, it's about saying no, not about saying yes to everything. You know what I mean? I don't know if you feel the same, but like that is just what I think right now, and that is why I feel like a boomer.
Yeah, it's all about like being having a builder mindset, right? So when you're a builder, you're willing to put in the effort, but you don't see the return, but you might see a very big return. So a lot of people hate that because they're employees. They want to see the check at the end of the month, right? They don't want you to talk about the big picture, right? But to be honest, it's what pays the bill, and in my experience, it pays a lot of bills.
You mean
Paying
like the company?
bills, right? It's paying
Yeah.
years of bills. You're paying for like 2 generations of bills, right? So that's why it's all about having to build a mindset, and you're willing to spend time and effort on effort with other people, with great people like you guys, like with the TBALL guys. I'm like, oh, these ladies I eventually ran into, and I'm like, oh wow, they have great backgrounds, they have great experience. I'm like, oh, let's just tag along and see what I can do. And to be honest, I don't mind if I'm doing it for free.
Oh, that is so sweet, Sam. I'm gonna cry. You don't make me cry on my own show, okay?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like, so what are you building right now, Sam? Tell me.
So right now, so basically Web3 is still just my kind of playground. It's all about like networking, about meeting more people, learning as well. And eventually I'm going to bring it to back to Web2. So that's why I'm in Taiwan, because I have another community group here, right? And then it's all about like leveraging the other people, and then in order to get more people into the group, so we have a bigger audience. Once you have a bigger audience, then you can deal with other companies, Web2 companies, like proper like medical, beauty. You can do fitness, you can do supplements, you can do dieting, you can do everything, because I have the people. So that's something that I learned at school, well actually at uni. When I have people, that's the audience. That's the audience, means that's the data. When I have that, I can build anything.
I was
Okay?
about to ask you. So you're like a e-com guy, you know, like it's all about data, right? But like Web3, on the other hand, we have counter philosophy. We're about privacy. We're all about like, you know, those kind of self-custody of your data. Like, what's your standpoint? Where do you stand?
Well, technically, I'm not a huge corporate that has a lot of T's and C's on data and stuff like that. So to be honest, as long as it's safe, it's fine. As long as it's safe. But when I have a group of people, I have a great group of brilliant minds. A lot of people, they have a lot of resources, and technically, that's when I can have more synergy in terms of Web 2, in terms of Web 3. Eventually, you never know. I might have an elite group that's, their only proof is, oh, I have one card in my NFTs. That might be it. But that might give them access to like a private club across the world because they're holders, right?
It is true. Yeah.
I'm learning a lot from Web 3, but trying to make that into like a Web 2 business sense into it. And
I like
technically,
that.
in the past few years, a lot of people have failed. They've been building DAOs, they've been building these private clubs, and then like 2 years down the line, oh, we can't pay the rent. and they're dead.
Yeah.
No
Oh my
one's
God.
no one's
Yeah.
attending, right? They don't have enough seminars to pay the rent, something like that. So it's all about like having something that's monetizable, and at the same time, it's going to be keep growing.
I heard a story, like one of a really good friend of mine, he back then was building a kind of like Web3 conference in the US. And then he was building with another guy. And then that guy was so deep into Web3, he used his house, he lives in with his family, with his wife and his kid, to go to the bank, get a loan to sponsor the conference, because they offer use like crypto to pay all the all in one kind of thing. But like crypto, right, it's still really fluctuated, the price is still ups and downs. They end up divorced. And I was like, what? That is how should I say it? How strong of the Web3 community is.
Oh, yeah, belief. Yeah. It's about the belief. To be honest, I don't think they'll just divorce because of money. They probably divorce because of other things as well. But to be honest, if it's something that it's a belief and it brings money, it brings bread onto the table, that's fine. If it doesn't, then prove it. Make sure that it works. Because right now I'm saying that, I have to believe in Web3 because I'm buying all these meme coins and crypto that's fluctuated in pricing. When we've been through a lot of the bear market, and you'll have a feel to like, oh, when the price is right to buy, to sell, because you're in it. But for other people who have not been in it at all, why are you spending so much money on Bitcoin? Why are you spending so much money on Ethereum, Solana, or the other small coins? They don't understand because they're not live traders. Like, oh, I look at the stocks every day, right? So it's all about, if people say things are dead, it means they're not involved. If they're not involved, it doesn't matter. Don't shield them. Just let them be.
Just let them be.
Yeah.
I do. I feel like, honestly, like when I was in the 2-3 years ago, the bull run, and a lot of people just say this DAO kind of like different types of organization, it's just running a business in a smarter and automation way. And right now, if I look back, I didn't involve in any DAO, but right now I look back in this quote, I think it wasn't really, really that true, because nowadays a lot of investors are actually hesitated to invest in a project that is the founders are on docs, because there are a lot of projects the CFO are actually involved in a lot of scams, right? And if you look at traditional world like Web2, for instance, you do a lot of due diligence, right? Like, who are they? What's the track record? Did they really have some, success in the, I don't know, in the past, for instance? So that is why I think Jenny said, like, currently the hybrid kind of choice is the best one. But she thinks it will be soon like merging AI, IoT, and RWAs. So what do you think about that?
Well, everything's related, right? So Web3 is just an easier way to get your money across. It's about smart contracts. IoTs is about data. So you're wearing something, you're picking out a lot of data in your home, in gear, in all the kind of stuff that you can pick up more information about the user. So user behavior is not free. It's all within the garden wall of big companies. But
So
when
what are you?
but when that data is actually useful, then you can bring it out to other platforms, get more involved.
So what do you think, like, what are you bullish about Web3? It's the tech, is the community, is what?
I'd say first of all, it's about the community, because these people are builders. So when you go to these conferences or side parties, right, you meet everyone and they're like, oh, that's who you are, because I've seen your PFP, but I haven't seen you before and stuff like that. Secondly, it's about the community of people that are actually bullish on the project. So they would wear the merch and then bring bags of the merch and use the whatever, the fan, the T-shirt, the cap, eventually. So it's very important that we have that, because that means you're doxing. Once you're doxed, then you're like, oh, that's who this guy is. I have a funny story. So I went to one of the Azuki events, and then this guy was like, "Oh, I see that you like eating Chinese roast goose, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's just a typical thing we eat in Hong Kong, right?" He's like, "Oh, actually, you should come to my restaurants." I'm like, "Oh, really?" And then he gave me some VIP cards, right? And I was like, "Oh, actually, that's like a really big branch in Hong Kong. They have a chain of different kind of like places where you would go to for yum cha food, right?" And then without this connection, I wouldn't suddenly have like these VIP cards of that. And again, that's a totally Web2 guy. He runs a chain of restaurants. And because we're friends in this community, so he gave me VIP cards. I'm like, that's a pretty good benefit. That's not bad. Discounts and stuff like that. And that's something that you only get when you're in real life, face-to-face connections. Like, why would I suddenly ask him, like, on Discord, like, "Oh, you run a restaurant? Where is it? Oh, is it yummy? Oh, maybe I'll try it out." I wouldn't. But because you have face-to-face connection with these people, and that's what I've been seeing in a lot of the conferences. I've been meeting a lot of people. Some of them are project founders. Some of them are working in Web3. Some of them are KOLs. I love meeting people. That's socializing. But at the same time, they do it so much that there's too much alcohol on the table, and then you feel sick of it when when you have these like 3 days conferences, right? I do not want to wake up because I just go out and have fun and stuff like that. So bring it back to like 2021 when I was buying all these NFTs. I would actually look into the like founding team and like what's their background, but I found like nothing because yeah, they'll just say, "Oh, this guy worked at Bazaar. This guy worked at this the animation company. This guy works at that major company." So it was quite funny. It was like trying to understand the team, but without fully understanding it, like LinkedIn or what. Obviously, there's only a few founders which are doxed, but
I know.
it doesn't mean that the project's going to boom. It just means that it they're confident enough to be doxed.
Mm.
And for me, I'm doxed on Web3 because I don't really care because I'm not some special founder that's secretly building a whole new chain of new coins and stuff in the background. So it's actually really good to be doxed when you have stuff, when you have a good history.
Yeah, I believe it too. So since you are in a really hybrid environment because you spend time in Western world, you spend time in Asia, there's a question here ask you about, is the crypto market in Taiwan is gonna be like Singapore? It's gonna be that vibrant as well? Like, what do you think?
Oh wow, great question. I've actually seen a lot of people in Taiwan. They're learning about crypto. They're very young. So a lot of the founders, a lot of the traders, they're very old. But then a lot of the youngsters are actually learning at the university. So they
Yeah.
have very good crypto education here. So they will hire guest speakers into the university for like these kind of side events. So
Wow.
I think it's actually very active. But at the same time, volume wise, not really. Because they're youngsters. So they don't actually put in a lot of money into it. But it's a good learning path that they have right now. And in terms of Singapore, yeah, way up here, right? But we're talking about volume, right? So we have a lot of volume in Taiwan because a lot of the youngsters are buying in, but at the same time, they're learning about trading, they learn about crypto, they're learning about other Web3 jobs and stuff like that. So it's a good market to be in. Whereas Singapore is very sophisticated already.
Like what I observed in Europe is that also the US, a lot of companies like Web3 companies are like hiring devs from Taiwan, like you said, because they're really tech savvy and relatively cheaper, right? In Taiwan. So they actually run the entire kind of like dev team in Taiwan, many chains. So that is something very interesting. But I think we are just a bit, I would say, behind from the trading wise, of course. But like, I think we will catch up at some point. So
Yeah, I spoke to some guys who are in their 20s. They've just left university. They're working for companies who are building coins, building games, building everything. It's really good for them because, to be honest, they don't really want to work in a traditional Taiwanese company. because they don't get very good benefits. So once they get their hands on a Web3 job, they actually have more flexibility in terms of having more leaves, or maybe they can work remotely, something like that. So it's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I know some devs in Taiwan. Yeah, but one thing I also see is like the thing you just mentioned, right? Because the top management people are like Western people, and then the team are like localized. But the miscommunication is actually something that companies need to look into. Yeah, that is something.
Well, I mean,
I
Web2
think.
companies have to as well, because they have to get familiar with like working remotely. They have to, since COVID, basically, they've been working. Actually, even before COVID, like companies like Yahoo, companies like LinkedIn, they started working like maybe 4 days a week in the office, 1 day remotely, and stuff like that. And then eventually COVID hits and everyone's working remotely. So work from home, it's a trend, and that's when we started having a bit more time with people who's working in Web3 jobs.
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. So since our interview comes to the end, I have a really important final question to you.
Okay, drum roll.
What is your favorite Taiwanese food?
Okay, Taiwanese food. Interesting. Like the normal person would say the beef noodles, because that's common.
Normal people. Okay.
No, I'm not common.
Okay.
So I would go for something that's very weird. So I've had this frog soup in the night market. It's not something that other people would have the guts to eat, but yeah, I find it's just like fish.
Is that delicious? Is it yum yum?
It's decent. I'll say it's decent. And then when I was eating it, this old guy would come along and say, "Oh, this is really good for men." And I'm like, "But there's a woman eating it right next to me." Like,
Right,
yeah,
right.
you're gonna be very strong down there. I'm like, eating frog is gonna make you very strong down there. I'm like, okay. Well, anyway, that's what the old guy said. So,
But did you feel very strong afterwards?
I don't know. I don't know.
No comment. Okay, no comment.
If he says so, I believe so. But I haven't actually, scientifically proven it, right?
I thought you did the field survey, but okay.
No, did not have the chance to do that. But anyway, it was an interesting experience. So in terms of where I'm at, is wherever I go, I try to find some local food that's not available in other areas, and that's my motto in life. Yeah, I have to try everything that's well, it has to be food, right? So other people are like, why don't you try shit? I'm like, why would I try shit, right? So I would try food from like different countries, different species of food and stuff like that. I don't mind that. As long as I've tried it, I can tell you whether it's good or bad or mediocre.
Okay, we will do that in Taiwan when I'm there.
So you're opting into frog soup.
I mean, don't put it in public yet. Okay, I mean, I will explore a little bit. I mean, I haven't tried it yet in my life, so.
No, we have normal stuff as well. So in Taiwan, beef noodles, chicken soup, the stinky tofu, we can do that as well. That's normal food.
Okay, stinky tofu I can do.
Okay.
Decent. Okay. Amazing. Sam, thank you so much. That was really fun, because I feel like right now I get to know you way better compared to before. We always texting, and even though you are like always super funny, super humor, thank you today. You put on like serious kind of, atmosphere, and then that was very educational, and yeah,
I try to be serious, Sam, everyone then, just in case. You can't be the joker in the group all the time.
Exactly. And how can people find you if they tweet, like, I don't know, DM you on Twitter, or like what kind of ways they can ask you about something about Web3, Web2?
Yeah, sure. So I would say Twitter is probably the best way for Web3 people to get connected. And then eventually, if they go to like a conference in a country in Asia and just ask, oh, are you going to this conference? I'm going to be there. Let's meet up. Something like that. So I see that a lot. So even this week, I've got people from the States coming over, and we're going to have hot pot.
Amazing. Yeah, give them a proper tour. Okay, thank you so much. And I hope everybody enjoyed the show. We have a lot of engagement, of course. Thank you for 170 people tune in. It will be more as well. Hopefully, we will have you soon. And for sure, wanted to see you in real life. So thank you, Sam, for joining me today.
My pleasure, KUAN-NING. Thank you very much.
Okay, then ciao. Hello, everyone. Super excited to have Melina with us. And of course, Jenny, my favorite co-host. Welcome to $1 Million Playbook Show. Because today is super important, especially in the United States. We are going to talk about everything in Web3 and also about the election as well, which is very, very important actually for everybody in the world. So before we started, we have our favorite co-host, Jenny, who is the FreeX founder. And then right now is also the VC backer of TBALL meme coin. And TBALL meme coin sponsored this live stream. So that's about it. And now we will go to Melina. Melina, how are you today?
Oh my God, I am so pumped, KUAN-NING. So just like you, I'm not in the United States, but obviously my focus is on what's going on. So like, it's an exciting day, but like also very dramatic. You know, I'm seeing also like on the timeline, like people are picking sides and they're like getting angry, but it's very interesting to watch from afar, you know, and I can't wait to get Jenny's takes on this because obviously I think this is the first time too that we actually have both candidates give their opinions on crypto. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes out of this, but also how crypto, you know, how crypto Twitter is going to react and how people are going, how people are choosing to vote this time around too. I think it's going to be really, really interesting.
Totally. Like you're Canadian, right? You're Canadian.
I'm Canadian, yeah. So my cousins in America are voting today. And then it's like all eyes on what they're doing.
Yeah, like literally like a lot of my friends, they're Americans, but they live abroad. But like I pushing them like, hey, you need to like at least mail in, you know. I think every vote counts. So yeah, totally. So Melina, tell us a little bit about you. Like I'm so excited.
Yeah, so about me, so in my past life, because obviously now I do crypto content, I create content. I would also say like I'm a communications advisor, and obviously a lot of people have told me I'm what do they call me? A community like lead, community manager, because I love, you know, hyping up people and hyping up communities and whatnot, especially when it comes to our assets and crypto and whatnot. But a little about me from the past, I worked actually as a television reporter for over 15 years here in Canada. So I think like a day like today, I would be super busy following the polls and everything and going out into the world. So I'm happy to be like comfortably in my living room and chatting with you lovely ladies today. But yeah, I mean, my story and journey into crypto is, I like to say, very similar to what a lot of females, and that's like one of my favorite videos. I had done the a parody of the Binance perfume commercial that where Binance thought that they would get more women into crypto. And I was like, well, I'll do like a silly video of like crypto bro smell. But yeah, I would say like my journey into crypto is one that I feel like so many women can relate to. My husband, boyfriend at the time was like talking to me about crypto and I just didn't care. I didn't think it could affect my life. I didn't think I'd be interested in that, you know, and then I just kind of got into like ETH NFTs. So that like, I really enjoyed art on blockchain. And then, you know, because I've been a creator for a long time, I also enjoyed this concept of owning assets and owning my work and proving it on a blockchain. So that's kind of how I dive deeper into that route of like joining the crypto space. And then, you know, Jenny would be so proud. But like, then what I did was I basically built my own business, you know, being this girl in the verse, whatever that could look like, the metaverse. I bought my first Oculus, you know, and really wanted to make some fun and relatable content for women, but also I think for everybody in general. But it's obvious that because I'm a girl and I talk about girly things, it's natural that more women would, you know, be more interested or take my content, you know, feel relatable. And that's basically my journey. And now here we are, like 4 years later, you know, I love crypto. Now I get to talk about it. And I kind of feel like I have like a good opinion on it because I've been in this space for a while. Obviously not as long as Jenny. She's the queen here. But yeah, I think it's all about getting yourself to be open to now knowing that everyone around you will forever call you crazy, will think you're ridiculous, and just owning up to that, you know, because people thought I was crazy before I did crypto. You know, who are you to go on Instagram and post pictures and, you know, but now I'm crazy because I'm in crypto. So it's like, as long as like you own up to it. And I think like that's always my main piece of advice to anyone, whether it is you're starting a business or starting to learn crypto or trading. It's like, just know that it's going to be weird because people think it's weird because they're not in it, or I learned this in psychology, like people have put you in a box, like this is what this person will always do. And then once you kind of change that, then it's hard for people to really understand what it is you're doing. But I think we're making progress. And that's why too, like, it's going to be so interesting to see how these elections will shape and form what I'm hoping is clearer, better regulations for the United States, but then also to see what the US does, because I'm sure you know this, KUAN-NING, but like Canada, we kind of like to see what the US does, and then we kind of make our own opinion, and then we're going to make our own regulation, you know. But I think the world, when it comes to crypto, is waiting for the US to make some clear regulations. So hoping to see what happens for sure.
Like, okay, so talking about like both candidates are talking about like crypto and stuff. Like, what do you hope like in the future US can like, you know, in this landscape, what would change in the crypto world? Like, what do you want to see? Because I believe you are one of the prominent influencer in the space. I mean, like, okay, we are not talking about like mega influencer have a lot of followers, but sometimes they have lower engagement rate. But yours is like you have your loyalty kind of community, right? So what's the people in your community says?
I think, you know, right now when I talk about clear regulations, it's also understanding, you know, if I buy something, I sell it, how does that affect my taxes at the end of the year? Or like, you know, I think, you know, when people talk about we're going to onboard the masses, I think at this point, we can't onboard if our governments can't even get clear as to what it is they want us to be doing with a lot of these assets. So like for me, the very, very minimum is, first of all, ensuring that Americans stay in America. You know, if they want to deal with crypto, they want to accept crypto, that we don't feel like we're going to be criminalized for it. Because that's how I sort of feel right now in Canada, right? It's like, I'm always looking at like, where should I go where it's actually crypto friendly so that I don't feel like I'm a criminal, you know? And so I think if we can get clear on that, you know, depending on, you know, like we always say, it's election time. So politicians will say whatever it is, right, to get the vote, quote unquote. But I think further, if we further that, it's also to sort of get intentional as to like, how are we going to talk about Bitcoin? You know, and if it's not Bitcoin, what about these meme coins? Are they considered the same as Bitcoin? What about these ETFs? Am I allowed to do X, Y, Z? And I think right now, when it comes to institutions building, companies entering the market, people want clear regulation so that they can understand what they're getting themselves into. Like, I'll tell you this, my girlfriends, they love my content, but they'll never buy crypto because they're like, you know, what if I go to jail? Like, it's literally a concern. So here I am, you know, I see Jenny's laughing, but, you know, I think for like the retail, you know, the onboarding of the masses, we need to start getting clearer as to what that means. Because how can we allow our parents, our grandparents get on board if they're terrified of what the government is going to do. And with all this uncertainty right now, yes, election, but also in terms of crypto in general, because all I'm hearing right now, Kun-Ning, is like, oh my God, Asia's so advanced. Asia's accepting everything. Asia's doing this. Asia's doing that. Great. But then what does that look like for North America? And so I'm like excited to see what comes out of it. And then secretly, I'm excited to tell people, I told you so. I told you. I told ya. Yeah, I'm excited to do that. Kun-Ning, I can't wait to do that.
Literally.
So, yeah. I mean, what do you think, Kun-Ning? Like, how is it where you are? Is it fairly accessible? Is it like normal for people? Because I know here it's not really.
Yeah, like, okay, so in Europe, we are more like we react really late, but we overreact. So the regulation is really, really strict. So the tax perspective and everything is just so strict. You know, Germany, right? Like they never kind of like
They sold all their Bitcoin.
Wow, yes, okay. That is true. It's true. Sorry for that. But also like the regulation is like the book is like so thick and it's just getting thicker and thicker. So I'm like, okay, it's good that right now you have a clear guideline what to follow and stuff. But on the other hand, it's just it's too much. You know,
Yeah.
I think at some point, all the governments, they need to cut down the rules as well and regulation. Like it's good to add on, but you know, you also need to clean out the old ones, you know. But like, I think this topic is best for Jenny actually, in terms of like, no matter like regulations or like the mistrust on the government, because I think Jen also put a really good kind of point here. So Jenny, what's your take on that? Like, actually, I'm not going to ask you any question because I know you for sure already have a lot of, you know, things you wanted to tell us about since you are also in the United States today. So, Jenny.
Well, hello there. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to start out with one quick question for each one of you. I did not know, Melina, that you were in Canada. So you see, you learn about your online friends every single day. So today is the first day that I've learned about you. How's the weather? Are people getting sick in Canada?
It's so gray. It's like, and it gets dark so fast. It's so sad.
Okay, but is it cold there now?
It's getting cold. Yeah.
It's cold.
Yeah. It's getting cold. The winter jacket's going to come out soon. Yeah.
Okay. So now, my KUAN-NING, I know she's been having the flu. Are you getting better?
And so I'm like sipping like my ginger tea, like, and I also put makeup. Yeah, ginger tea.
You don't need makeup. You're fine. You don't need makeup.
It's horrible. Trust me. Like, yeah.
So add ginger, fresh ginger, right? Grind it, fresh ginger, and then either lemon or lime, and then you should a little honey, so it should be cool. All right. So now that both of your health is good, it's cool. Okay. I just want to make sure my ladies are well, right? But I did finish writing my Substack. It's 6 pages, 7 pages long. I'm fine tuning it. But today we're interviewing Melina. So I don't want to take her entire time. Today is not a Jenny Ta day. Today is a Melina day.
So thank you. Oh my God.
it's a Melina day. So I actually have a couple questions though. Personal questions. Not too personal. We know that you're married. No kids yet, right? No kids yet, right? Okay. So I actually met you through Cams and Michelle. So are you friends with both Cams and Michelle, or who did you meet first?
No, I would say Cams. Cams and I have met at a couple of events in person.
Okay.
And I met Michelle through Tetherball, actually.
Oh, okay. All right. So you met Michelle and me through Tetherball. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you know Jen? Do you guys know each other?
Yes, of course. Jen is. I told you this already. She's the meme queen for Tetherball.
That is correct.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But I mean, before that, do you guys know each other?
No.
Oh, you met through Tetherball too.
Tetherball. Yeah.
Ah, okay. All right. My third and final question, and then back to the host. Okay. But I don't need to go through boring regulations today, because today is a Melina day. And then I would jump in when there's time. Okay. So my third and final question is, I know you're also a Bitcoin queen. I mean, look at your pillow behind there. Okay.
know.
So
I know.
so my question actually is how long have you been into Bitcoin? And I know you're very devoted to Bitcoin, right? And then I would love to get how you feel because you're part of the Tetherball community.
Yeah.
You're actually gonna be my advisor, one of my advisors, right? So you know how Tetherball has this meme, right?
Yes.
That which Jen actually was the one who created though, right? She created the meme that says Tetherball and Bitcoin are the same, right? So being such a Bitcoiner, and let us know what year did you get into Bitcoin? Okay.
It's so
How do
recent.
you
That's why I'm laughing.
yeah, how do you feel about that? It's kind of like being married and we can't lie. I mean, I'm not there, but I have
Yeah.
a lot of friends that they're married, but they still look at guys and say, "Damn, that's one fine dude," right? So you get what I'm saying? So
Yes, of course.
you're married to Bitcoin, but you're part of Tetherball, and you say, "Well, Tetherball's kind of cute," you know? So when
Yeah.
you see a meme like that, how do you feel? I would love to get that from you. That's my
Yeah.
question.
So I actually started my journey with Ethereum. And that's why it's so funny, and that's why I'm like, my story's so relatable. I started with Ethereum because I love the cool concept of NFTs, even though now a lot of them like rugged me, like that's actually the truth when it comes to NFTs and that whole craze in 2021. But then I would say, as I started understanding how Ethereum worked and Solana and all these other coins, that's what got me to appreciate Bitcoin. Because I was like, I think a lot of people, I was like, Bitcoin, it's so expensive now. Why would I buy this? But then I started looking at it as like digital gold, which is like what a lot of people like to say. And then I'm a girl, Jenny. I like to buy something and forget it. I don't want to trade daily, hourly. Like I hear all my girlfriends, right? They're like, I've got kids, I've got things to do. I don't have time to look at charts. That's not for everyone, right? So for me, Bitcoin is it's my favorite hodl coin. Like you just hold it, you forget about it, and you don't give it to the government. That's my rule for Bitcoin. But I would say it's only 4 years I'm in Bitcoin. The only reason why now I would say a lot of my content is focused on Bitcoin is because of the Bitcoin halving we just had. It's because now there's Bitcoin ordinals, there's meme coins on Bitcoin. So the Bitcoin people, even the laser eye maxis that I understand what you're referring to, that only stick to Bitcoin, there's been a bit more, I feel like, openness. So that's why I feel like, yeah, I'm more into like the Bitcoin stuff. But you're absolutely right. When it comes to Tetherball, I wanted you to actually share with us how it's similar to Bitcoin. Because, I think too, like when you talk to the general population, people don't understand the differences with each coin too. Like they don't understand, right? But for me, Bitcoin, the simplest way is to just say you sit on it, you forget about it. And it also helped knowing that governments were implementing ETFs with it too. That helped a lot of people, feel more comfortable with it. But yeah, talk to us about the whole Tetherball, Bitcoin.
Okay. I wouldn't take too long. Again, today is the Melina Day, but I want the audience out there to notice actually about KUAN-NING, the host. Okay, so as you can see, she was sniffling. Uh, those in our community know, because I'm very outspoken on Twitter too, that when I'm very good at something, I will make sure everybody knows that I'm very good at something. But when I'm not good at something, I also am very outspoken to say that I'm not good at something. And what KUAN-NING is doing today is something that I'm not good at, which is this technical live stream yar situation here. So you see, my love goes out to her because she's sick. She told me a couple of days ago that there's a flu going around, and unlike other people, I'm not going to mention names, right? They will probably said, Jenny, I'm sick. I can't do this, right? But you see how she's a fire sign, just like me, right? She gonna say, fuck the flu. Okay, I know Jenny can do this shit. She can't do this shit. She already told me she can't do this shit. And it's a very rare that when Jenny says she can't do this shit, if I can't do it, then what's gonna happen, right? So I wanted to acknowledge KUAN-NING right on air and admitted that without her today, this interview with Melina would not happen. And even if it were to happen, I would probably go crazy at the last minute. What am I going to do? How am I going to do this? So I'm grateful for her today. So I want to give her, because I saw she was sniffing when Melina, you were talking. So I want to make sure to stretch that point that there's a flu going on in Germany. And I think she's been having a flu. So, but anyway, Melina, it's still your day. So back to you. I won't take too much time because we wrote about this. At the end of the day, Melina, I know you're a Bitcoiner. So I'm not going to trash it too much because I love you, right? But of course, I never trash Bitcoin. I trash the people behind the Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Okay. But actually, to a certain extent, I defend Bitcoin. Even though TBALL and Bitcoin, we always say, like Jen and I always send out memes that it's the same. Here's where it's the same. The bottom line is, we did say that the DNA, we all know what a DNA is the same between Bitcoin and TBALL, which people consider it as a meme coin. What is the DNA? The DNA is a cryptocurrency, right? So Bitcoin is on the blockchain. It has its own chain, right? But the negative thing about Bitcoin is that unlike Ethereum and Solana, where you've been in Ethereum first, people can build stuff on top of Ethereum and they call it an L2, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. You can never do that with Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yeah.
Satoshi Nakamoto did not build Bitcoin to have anything built on top. So I've meant to write a Substack that talks about, there have been a ton of projects, and I'm sure you've heard the Lightning Network, correct?
Yeah.
The Lightning Network is probably the most popular project that's somewhat kind of connected to Bitcoin. It's not built on top of Bitcoin because it's not an L2, but it's connected somehow that the Bitcoin maxis wanted the world to know that Bitcoin has some kind of utilities, if you get my point, right?
Yeah.
But besides that, there are a ton of other projects that people try to build, and two things happen when people do that, okay? KUAN-NING and I actually was working on a research. Remember KUAN-NING, I'm not going to mention the name. And that's how we learn about it, is through this research that KUAN-NING and I did that was connected to Bitcoin. This guy, he was trying to build a project on Bitcoin, and the Bitcoin maxis kind of rejected him because when he started doing it, two things happen. Number one, it slows down the original Bitcoin, right? You know that, right? And number two, it sucks the energy, and people blame it on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Because Bitcoin consumes a lot of energy, right? So anything that is attached to the original protocol, okay, it's gonna suck out energy. And when it sucks out energy, the whole Bitcoin protocol slows down. The fees go higher. The fees start going high. People start complaining. All of the fudster, right? The people who hate Bitcoin, they're gonna say, "Oh, look at the fees," So again, I don't want to take too much time because we kind of wrote about this. But at the end of the day, if anyone out there hear from the TBALL community that they say, or they send out a meme that Bitcoin and TBALL share the same DNA, that's a fact. Okay, it's a true fact. Okay, if you understand the technology. Okay, but of course, I can go further into, well, Bitcoin is scarce. It only has 21 million. But I did also say it 2 nights ago on a space. Who defines the word scarce to equate to 21 million?
Yeah.
Because the word scarce can also equate to our TBALL, which is 888 million, right? Because when you use the word scarce, you can say, like gold is scarce because people have to go to the mountain and find gold, right? But when you say Bitcoin 21 is scarce, it's questionable because we've done the math, and that math is, Bitcoin can have the lowest supply, right? Supply is 21 million.
Yeah.
But you look at a token like Shiba Inu or Dogecoin.
Yeah.
Dogecoin has unlimited. So if you take like an average of all of the tokens out there, the average could be like somewhere in the billions. And so does that mean any coins that are below a billion could be considered scars? You get my point.
Yeah.
Okay. So a lot of people don't think about these things. They don't really dig deep and dive into the analysis and stuff like that. So so I'm gonna end there. Okay. So I do have one more question and give it back to our host, KUAN-NING. Again, doesn't matter if she's sick or anything. Both of you guys look beautiful. Okay. So I never worry about KUAN-NING. Makeup, no makeup, running nose, or whatever the case may
Great.
be.
Yeah.
I gotta go and do all this stuff, right?
No, you look great too.
To match her, because otherwise I'll look like a piece of shit compared to her, right?
It's so not true. Like people confuse us a lot. That is like,
Exactly. She looks so young. Jenny, you look incredible. We need to know about your skincare products or something. Your skincare routine.
Speaking of young, just a quick story. So I recently changed my doctor. I have a question for you, Melina, only because you asked this. Change doctors. So I went to the new doctor, my new insurance. The nurses there do not know who I am, right? So when I go to the doctor, I'm stripped, no makeup, no fluffy hair. I just dress in sweat clothes, right? So I fill out the form, and then, so the nurse came and sit to me and talk to me and stuff like that. And then she said, "Oh, you're in your late 30s. You don't have to worry about that." And I say, "Wait, what did you say?" She told me I was in my late 30s. And I said, "Can I see the chart?" Just to make sure she's reading my chart and not somebody else. And then she has my chart. And then I said, "I'm not in my late 30s." And she looked and said, "Oh my God, your birth! Oh my God, really? How do you look that great?" And I had no makeup. So I do know for a fact that I have great skin. That's from my mother. Okay. And Asians don't raisin. Okay. And I've been taking care of myself super well. I stay out the sun. I eat healthy food. But back to you, Melina.
No, I wanted us to talk about, I honestly, because I'm not in the US, I'm hoping that we could talk about the election. I also wanted to get your take on like how you're seeing things. I mean, from like since last night, I'm like, from my point of view here in Canada, the way we see this, well, the way I see it really, it could go 50-50. It could go him, it could go her. Honestly, at this point, I don't even know if we'll have results tonight. Like I don't even know how deep this is gonna go. But a bit to like what KUAN-NING was asking me too, in terms of like crypto, I'm just so used to politicians saying what sounds good. But then again, like it will really depend what happens. That's really what it comes down to.
Okay. So we'll dive into that after you answer one more question from me.
Yes.
Okay. So my question is, I recently read about you that you were a speaker at the United Nations.
Yes.
So I know some folks there, but I knew them before COVID. So I got to go check on them to see what's going on with them. But when I saw that, I say, wow, because prior to COVID, I had an email chain with a couple folks from the United Nations. And so when I saw that, I said, oh, that reminds me, I got to reach out to them. Talk to us about that. What is the United Nations? You were there to speaking about what topic? And then please share with us about that.
Yeah, so I got this phone call, and it was and I thought it was like a scam thing. I was like, okay, yeah, right. But they basically told me that someone had nominated me. So it wasn't like I didn't do anything. That's the real answer. Apparently someone had nominated me, and this was part of this Women of Web3 initiative, where every year they set out like a week or 2 weeks where anyone can go submit people that they believe could go ahead and then speak at the United Nations. And so someone contacted me basically saying, hey, you've been nominated, but we also want to know, because even though you're nominated, doesn't mean that you want to do it, right? So they had asked me if I was interested. Obviously, I was interested. This year, though, it was virtual, so I didn't end up going to New York or like being there. They did say that they're planning to do something at a later date. So we'll see what happens there. But basically, it was a virtual event. They had asked me to write something up. I had something very specific to talk about. And it was more along the lines of, you know, a bit my journey and like why, as a woman, right, why I was into Web3, crypto, and whatnot. And you know what? I actually teared up as I was doing my speech. I ended up tearing up, which like felt weird because, you know, we're virtual again. Like I wasn't in person, and I was like, okay, it's not gonna be a big deal. But I ended up tearing up because I did mention, you know, I had a few lines in my speech about how when so I come from an Italian immigrant family in Canada, and when I was growing up, you know, we're talking about crypto, but when I was growing up as a woman, no other woman around me ever told me about money, about making my own money, the importance of finance, right? Like, yeah, here I am. Look, I'm tearing up. God, KUAN-NING is on it today. She is on it. Can we just give a moment to KUAN-NING? So,
And she has a flu.
I know.
She doesn't have a flu.
I know,
Right?
right?
I'm a big fan of you, Melina, too.
Oh,
So
thank you. So I was like tearing up because here I was thinking like, oh my God, like, because I joke about this a lot. You know, like I said before, people think I'm weird now. Oh, this crypto girl, you know, what is she doing? You know, whatever. But the reality is like, whether you're in crypto, just understanding the basics of like where you come from, but also the strides we have taken as a society too, in terms of like talking about money. Like when I say this, Jenny, and it really like, sometimes I'm like, oh my God, like I can't believe this. I'll go for brunch with the girls, and we're not talking about what we invested in. Did you see the Apple stock? Did you see Tesla? Did you see PayPal? No, they're talking about their nails. We're talking about the kids and the, you know, whatever, which again, I love those moments too. It's not that I don't want to strip off the woman side of what we do, you know, cocktails and great brunch spots and Instagram pictures, you know. But there is something to be said about the fact that when the guys get together, this is what they actually talk about, you know? And I've noticed it because, Jenny, I've entered this era where since I've gotten married, a lot of my husband's guy friends now, they'll go out because the wives are pregnant or the baby's at home. And so I end up attending these like guy events and I'm watching them, and they're there talking about their stocks and what they bought this week and how much money they saved and what they're investing and what properties they're going to go buy. And I'm sitting there like, I don't talk about this with the girls. I never have. And so in that moment at the United Nations, when I was like, I never was taught about this growing up, it kind of like brought up all these emotions of like, we really owe it to this. Anyways, I tell myself, you know, sometimes my shoulders are a bit heavy because I feel like we are the generation, and I'm still like early 30s, but we are the generation where we have to make those changes. We can't just be talking about making the change. We have to really live up to that change. And, you know, I'm hoping that in some way that I am able to do that, you know, whether it's for myself, but also for younger women. I know you too, Jenny, you know, even this whole, like me joining Tetherball, there's so many different elements too about what you have built, Jenny and KUAN-NING. The fact that it's women led, the fact of how you did this, the fact that the community has never been strong. My God, guys, if I don't even know if I'm allowed to show, but look at my Tetherball chat is like going off the roof. It's like, no, but I mean it, Jenny. Like, it takes a lot for us to be able to do that, you know? And so I don't just take it like with like a fair of heart, you know, like I really take it personally when like I got asked to do this at the UN. I did it. I don't know what it means yet. You know, I know that they said that there's going to be stuff coming. I don't know yet what that means. I'll be very honest. I haven't heard back. I'm also waiting to get back the recording of what I've done, but it was truly an honor. And like I said, like, I don't take it for granted, but also there's so much more work that needs to be done. And again, I'm not trying to come at it as like this big feminist thing, but here we go. Look, Stitch just right. This generation shouldn't be gender biased. Everyone deserves an opportunity. And that's truthfully why I loved crypto, because I realized that I could just enter. And obviously I'm fully doxxed, Jenny, like you, like KUAN-NING, we're fully doxxed. But you know how many women I know pretend to be men on Twitter? right? So like this is for everyone. This is like a seat at the table. It doesn't matter the gender you are. It doesn't matter the education level you're at. It doesn't matter how many homes you own. Everyone, as long as you obviously, you know, you have to do your homework. Don't just buy anything either. But this is leveling the field for, I think, a lot of people. And, you know, sometimes too, Jenny, I don't know if you get this, but I live in Canada, right? So for a lot of like the women around me, oh, come on, Melina, we don't live in XYZ country. No, you don't. But what are you going to do about living here? You know, then that's my other, like, what are you going to do about living here? Because even though you live in Canada, I mean, we're talking about the US election. If our ovaries weren't that important, Jenny, they would not be one of the topics, right? Like it would not be. So like, there's so much that I feel like, right, Jenny? There's so much right now that I'm like, my God, if it was so true that in North America we were so this and that, then these topics wouldn't be on topic of conversation. How do you feel about multiple coding organizations for women shutting down this year? I think it's so sad. I think it's sad that women, look, the reality is it doesn't matter the industry. And I'm sure, Jenny, I would love to hear your thoughts on this because you've been in finance for way too long and you know this. There's so many women that want to do things, but they get told no because it's women-led, because it's a woman coming after, you know, the guy groups. So yeah, just reading this, Jen, I haven't seen this come out, but this makes me really sad because at the end of the day, we are a society that runs off of money. You know, like I always say this, if you're going to pay that guy that money, why should the women be doing it for free? That bothers me. You know, Jenny, what do you say? Jenny's giving me the thumbs up.
Well, you know, certainly I agree with everything you're saying, you know, Melina. I would love you to be even more involved with TBALL, but I respect that you're a Bitcoiner. I keep saying you're a Bitcoiner. So we got to ease you in somehow, you know, but Jen, you mentioned about, you know, they shutting down women who code. Jen should know this more than I do. Jen, does it have to do with AI though? Because I'm not a coder, Jen, you know that, right? So, but what I've heard from coders that I used to work with is I think through ChatGPT, let's just say a job order for before would take like, let's just say 10 devs, you know, now they could cut down 5 to just 3 devs with ChatGPT. So if the devs guys are getting cut down because of AI helping them, then why would people want to hire women? Because we got to admit that when it comes to coding devs, for every 9 guys or maybe 8 guys that are great, there would be 2 women, 1 or 2 women, right? So if we look at the surveys now with AI and ChatGPT being involved, I mean, I've heard some devs say, look, Jenny, I'll show you. He could type out like, you know, a prompt, right? It's called a prompt, right? To build something, and then ChatGPT literally just the whole thing, and he just copy and boom, that whole developing thing is like done, right? So you know, so I think when we look at things, you know, like right now, coding organizations for women are shutting down. I believe we need to put AI into perspective because AI not only gonna kill all the jobs for women because AI is already killing jobs for men. For every 10 men that used to code before, now they only need half per se. You know, so Jen, you know, I learned a lot. They lost funding. That's obviously the case too. You know, but I'm learning stuff from Jen right now about AI. So Jen and Zach, we recently added to our team, so they're really great. But before we circle back to the election, because I know everybody's talking about the election.
It's almost like if we don't talk about it, it kind of looks like we don't know what day it is.
Exactly. But well, Trump's new crypto company doesn't allow for sales of tokens, but only buying. Fine print says that you can sell.
Trump's token was weird to me.
Well,
token was weird.
Well, we know a lot of thing, based upon what I've read there, Jen, it's illegal. You cannot not let people sell. If it's a publicly traded stock or a publicly traded crypto, if people can buy, they have to sell. That's why it's called a public market. Trump's people cannot put out anything unless, the only thing, again, I didn't read it, unless it has to do with insiders buying. Okay, like when he launched this cryptocurrency, it was through a form of a SPAC. A SPAC meaning they had to buy a shell, and then from that shell they reverse it into Trump's company, and then it goes out public. So it's not the traditional IPO. So when you do something like that, there could be what it's called a conversion, where everybody, like on Trump's side and on the shell people side, the shell people of the publicly traded shell. Again, this is another topic I could go through. I could write so many books. Okay, so when that happens, there are disclaimers and disclosure for the shell company that they cannot dump, right? So that could be it. Or on Trump's side, he can't sell the stock. But Jen, I'm not sure which one you're talking about. If you're talking about the meme coin of Trump, oh, the crypto of Trump, which is I think I know what that is too. Trump Jr. Did you know about that, Melina? Trump Jr. and all of them were in it too. So that one,
I listened
ahead,
to Dr. Baroque on Rug Radio that night, but I thought it's so weird, Jenny, because I was like, why is he doing this? I literally the next day went on a ton of crypto bro shows, and I said, he's ruining crypto for us.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And people were like, you're wrong, you're wrong. I said, no, I'm not wrong. I was like, no, because what he's doing is exactly why we want a lot of these crypto bros to get out of here. This is why we keep saying we want clear regulation. We want, because if people do this like a president,
right,
you know.
Well, you know, and you're absolutely right, Melina. I think it's on the TBALL account. I was on a space yesterday, and then TBALL took out a clip exactly of what I said, that which you actually just say it in like 30 seconds. Like, you know, I want it, if Kamala wins, okay, I believe, you know, I know for a fact that she's pro crypto. I'm actually going to put out a Substack as soon as she confirms that she is the president. But if she loses, then I guess you guys never going to see that, because it's irrelevant, right? It's irrelevant. So I've already written it. It's all done and everything. But the thing you were asking, why did Trump do that? Well, a lot of people on the left, which is the Democratic, they're calling, even Obama, this guy is a grifter. Is that a word, grifter? He sells shoes for $100. He sells watches for $100,000. He even sells the Bible, okay? The Bible, and it's all made in China. So this guy, this Trump guy and his family, they cannot do. And you remember his wife, Melania. Remember during the NFT era, she went out, she sold that white hat as an NFT, right? And she did sell, like, I think $250,000 or something. And then she came up with a website with all sorts of her jewelry NFTs, but it didn't do well, because at that time NFTs were already crashing down. So this family, the Trump family, it's all full of grifters, and because people are feeding into it. You know, he would not be where he's at if excuse me, not everybody in the crypto space are an idiot, because I say that all the time. I cannot say anything worse, because like you mentioned the crypto bros, right? And I think they're idiots. Okay, just like what you're saying, you know. So you know, but you know, we've been leaving KUAN-NING out. She's the host. Let's see if she has any question for you, and then we can circle back.
No, I don't. I'm like looking at all the ventures that Donald wants to do. Donald is like my buddy. I call him Donald. But yeah, it's crazy, right? Like there's also stable coins he want to tap into. So I don't know if I should worry if he is elected as president, because if he wanted to do something with stable coin under his venture, crypto new venture, I don't know if that is good. But I'll be worried. I don't know you. Yeah.
It's interesting because Jenny, to your point, you said you wrote something for if Kamala wins. Last night I had tweeted You know, if I'm on Twitter, if I'm on X, Trump's winning. If I'm on TikTok, Kamala's winning. Like, right? Like, it's like,
Right,
that's
right.
what I'm telling you. From where I am, it's like, who's it going to be? You know, like, I don't
Right,
know because
right,
I'm not there. Like, I truly don't know. But it, depending on the platform you are on, and, you know, last night too, someone was saying in a space yesterday, and he, I think also is from London, so from Europe, and was saying, isn't it interesting how Joe Rogan interviewed Trump? And then last night, Joe Rogan released the Elon interview, which I will tell you, I did not want to watch. I was like, you know what? It's enough. I already have a big day today, you know? I do not want to watch this. But it is interesting to see. And this is why, you know, it's important for people to understand how they're getting their information, right? Like I'm telling you, I'm on X. Trump's a winner. There's, you know, she's got no say in there. But if you go on other platforms, everyone's ready to have a female president. So it's honestly, I don't even know. You're in California, right?
I am. So we're the last state to vote. I believe the poll closes at 8 p.m. California time. But if people are have been in line, they still could get to vote. So it could be 8:30 or 9. But here's my quick comment to you about if you're on X, you know,
Yeah.
Trump's winning. If you're on TikTok, Kamala's winning. I've shared about this before, right? In 2016, I mean, I'm involved with the Kamala Harris election right now, but not as much. But in 2016, I was very involved in the Hillary Clinton election, right?
Yes.
So, yes. So then in 2016, you remember Hillary lost because of the Cambridge analytical situation with Putin and Facebook, right? Facebook was involved. So I think Elon picked up a chapter from that, and that's why he bought X, and he was preparing to quote unquote rig this election. But the thing about Elon is he failed, okay? And this is unrecorded, and this is going to be kept forever, right? So I know this. So he failed to think that he is working against the entire democratic system, which is very powerful, and they're made up of very intelligent people. Because if you Google the data, and even though I still use the word Google, people, a lot of people say, Jenny, stop saying Google, use ChatGPT for search. But that's wrong.
Yeah,
If you guys still use the Google data, ChatGPT searches, it's only in the hundreds of millions. But Google, it's in the hundreds of billions people using it per day. So until ChatGPT searches surpass Google, I'm going to start using ChatGPT. But trust me, I know my technology. Just because I keep using Google, that doesn't mean that I don't know about ChatGPT search. See, no, I mean, don't question my integrity, because I know exactly what I'm talking about. So back to Elon and Twitter, okay? So if we Google the intellectual education levels between Democrats and Republicans, oh my God, there's no comparison, okay? Democrats' educational level and the voters are like, say, yay here. Republicans are like, yay down here. So where Elon failed is that you heard of the phrase, okay? You heard of the phrase, fool me once, okay, it's on me, which was the Democrat. Okay, I mean, fool me once is on you, but fool me twice, it's on me. You guys heard about that, right? So me would be the Democrats. So in 2016, I was there. I saw it, that the Democrat, it's sort of like, you know, like you and I standing in front of each other, Melina. I would never do this, by the way. But all of a sudden, I would just slap you, bam, right? And then you say like, what the fuck, right? So that was what happened to the Democrats in 2016. So from 2016 to now, it's nearly 8 to 9 years. Do you think, or does anybody think, that something like Cambridge Analytica plus Facebook is going to repeat, because then that would mean that the Democrats are stupid. And I just said the Democrats are not stupid, right? So that's why, of course, everybody knows that I'm pro Kamala, okay? But if I have to make a call now, of course, I'm going to say that Kamala is going to be the 47th president of the United States of America.
My God.
And we might not even gonna wait long too. It's probably by 11 or 12 o'clock. The media is gonna call it for Kamala. And here's why. Here's why, Melina. As you know, the United States political system is it's not one of the strongest, but it's the strongest types of a system in the world, right?
Mhm.
So you know, in the United States, there are 50 states, but there are only like 6 or 7 what we call is swing states, right?
Yes.
Like Philadelphia, Ohio, Wisconsin, Nevada is one of them. Texas could flip, Florida, all of those could flip. Now, right now we are 11 a.m., right? So East Coast, where Jen is at, is already what
They
time is
voted.
it? 2
Yeah,
p.m.
it's 2 p.m. Yeah.
Already half a day is already gone. So by the time that, you know, I go to dinner, like at 5 o'clock my time, okay, there are already results from the East Coast. And
Exactly.
if one of those swing states have enough votes, Kamala only needs 2. Kamala only needs 2 of those swing states. If she keeps all of the blue states, all the blue states that normally go to the Democrats as they head towards California, if she keeps them all, she only needs like 2 swing states, and
Wow.
it's hers. It's hers. Okay. So and most of those swing states are in the East Coast. Okay. So that's the reason why you will see it on Twitter, just only on Twitter, that they tweeting out, say that, oh, Trump is gonna take California. Oh my ass. Okay. If
There's
Trump,
no way he's taking California.
it's impossible. But then you see it on Twitter. Okay. So that's my call. Melina, again, today is the Melina Day. I definitely want to take the whole thing from Melina. I
No, I want to talk about. It's interesting because I'm like Jen. I'm holding my breath because obviously, as a woman, I am. You know, I'm hoping to see this change. I think it's going to be beautiful because I'm with you, Jenny. I was there. I remember doing a radio show and it was like 5 a.m. and we had results and it was, I did not say Hillary Clinton was the president. And I remember looking at my papers like, wait, is this real? Is this right? Is this right? And so this entire time, you know, I haven't been vocal because first of all, I'm not in the States. I don't know. But from everything we've heard, everything we've seen. So right now I'm holding my breath because I'm very like, the woman aspect in me, right? The female aspect is like, of course I want to see a female run. Of course I want to see her win. You know, but I'm also like, I still remember how I felt when Hillary didn't win, you know? And so I'm trying to like, I'm just trying to be like, let's see what happens. And then I'll do what I got to do, jump and whatever. But like, it's been very, you know, even here in Canada, people have a lot of opinions and I'm not going to say it's breaking up families, but like, you know, people are very, very strong opinionated about what's going on. And like I told you, you go on Twitter, I'm Italian. You go on Twitter and like, it's all about Trump. So it's been hard for me to really figure out what's happening on the ground. That's why I wanted to hear from you and what your thoughts were. So yeah, I'm excited to see. I'm really, really excited.
Right, and if you remember Hillary, she had to make the statement the following day, and then after that, she disappeared into the forest.
Yes.
Right, the very first time that people caught a picture of her, the paparazzi, they found her walking in the forest, and I think that was like at least 2 to 3 months later. But I wanted to share you guys this. Okay, so it's this thing which I'm going to tweet it out shortly. This chart, which is very interesting, the orange are pro Kamala. Okay, so you see how orange and blue, okay,
It's very
orange and blue. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to tweet this out, pro Kamala. And let me read to you some countries that are pro Kamala versus some countries that are pro Trump. And then you can tell that it's the dark people, I always use the word, the dark countries, the dark people that would follow Trump, because again, dark, bad people follow bad people. Okay, so here are the top countries that are pro Kamala, and they're not in America. So let me read it real quick. In the 90th percentile, like 96, Denmark, Finland, Sweden, Netherlands, Norway, Germany, Ireland, France, Lithuania, Australia, Spain, Portugal, Belgium, Italy, where you're at, Estonia, Switzerland, Latvia, Poland, UK, Romania, Greece, Czech Republic. So all of those are above 50 percentile. Now let me read the blue, which is really supporting Trump. So which means from the bottom up. So here they are, the number one country. You guys want to take a guess?
I'm scared.
That supports
Russia?
Trump.
Russia.
You're right. You both are right. You both are dead on. Number one is Russia, and then Serbia, Georgia, Hungary, Bulgaria, Moldova, which is near over there. As you can tell, right? So, so in the Chinese Vietnamese culture, I don't know how KUAN-NING could say it, but my mother always tell me this way. My mother always teach me with analogy. That's why, as you guys see, like when I teach stuff, when I coach, I always use analogy. So this is what my mom taught me when I was very young, like 2 or 3 years old. So she would take out 2 pots, a pot and a pan, like a pot, right?
Yeah.
One is perfectly round. And then the other one, she beat it up, that is dented. It's dented. This is my mother teaching me when I was 2 years old, okay? And then she first took out a lid, right? And it was perfectly round. And then she gave it to me. I was only 2. And she said, honey, put the lid on the pot.
Yeah.
So me being 2, and I saw this dented pot, there's no way this round lid's gonna fit on that. So because back then when I was young, I was like in Hong Kong refugee camps or something. There weren't any toys. Okay, so this is my mother was teaching. So of course she told me that you were smart. She told me that I was smart. That I took the lid, the round lid, and I put it on the round pot. Okay. So as I grow older, then she explained to me, do you remember that thing? I said, yes, I do. She said, do you remember why I said that? And I said, no. She said, well, because when you go out in the world, there will be 2 types of people. And every type, there will be a lid that fits with it.
There you go.
You get my point, right, Melina? So I don't know how to say it in Chinese. Maybe KUAN-NING might, but of course she taught me in Vietnamese. I perfectly understood her. So meaning that if you're good, there's gonna be people like the lid will fit with the type that you are. But if you're bad, let's just say Trump is the crooked pot, there will be lids that fit on that crooked pot. So it's just a funny thing, and so I just want to share that chart. But back to KUAN-NING.
No, the other day I was listening to there's #1 podcast in UK, actually in Europe, and do you know Professor Galloway? Do you know who is he?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
Scott Galloway. Scott.
Yeah,
Yes.
Scott.
He's
Scott
not on
is
Twitter anymore. I used to follow him on Twitter.
Oh, really?
And
Why?
you know who he's the best friend of? And she's not on Twitter either. She's very well known in the tech world. She's in media. Let me go find her. And of course she's gay. She's married to another woman, and she has a bunch of kids. She lives in the Bay Area. But you guys know I'm so bad with names. But let me go Google her right now, and I'll share it. But yes, KUAN-NING, I do know Scott.
Yeah, so he's a super pro Kamala, right? He's really, kind of open about his opinion about this election. And he said, like, nowadays, isn't it just interesting because back then all the presidents' campaign, you can only see them in Parliament, for instance, or like stadium when they are running campaigns. But like nowadays, it's more like you need to do influential stuff. Like Donald Trump's go to Joe Rogan, or like doing a Twitter space with Elon as well. And you know what he said? He said, like, to be honest, he would advise Kamala to go to Core Daddy, because like That is
Yeah.
what, like, because she should chill a little bit as well. Like, one thing he disliked about his party is a bit like humorless, but he does believe that there's more potential if Kamala wins. And now I'm just wondering nowadays, is that, are you running presidential campaign, or like we are trying to compete with each other in terms of popularity? You know what I mean? So that is something I feel like nowadays, why all the voices matters, especially right now, this kind of space we are doing, because we are sharing our opinions and also educate publics, right?
Yeah.
We almost have 400 people here, so like I do believe, I just want to shout out, everybody should go vote, even though I'm not American, but yeah, I think it's really important.
Okay,
true.
so I found her. You guys probably heard of her. She's very well known. She covers technology. She's in Silicon Valley for the last, who knows, 30, 40 years. And I believe, KUAN-NING, she has a podcast with Scott, okay? And her name is Kara Swiger. Kara Swiger.
Interesting.
She's very well known here. If you guys don't know her, you guys got to know her now. She is not on Twitter either because of Elon. So she, and if you really like Scott, KUAN-NING, then you have to know her, because they have the same, they share the same podcast.
Okay.
Yes, that is her. That is her. I'm such a super fan of her because she is like straight to the T, just like me. She tell it like it is. She's the one who called Elon out, and then that's why she left Twitter, because she can't stand Elon. You know, yeah. Go ahead, KUAN-NING.
No, I just can't believe Scott is not Scott. I always call them Scott Galloway is not on Twitter. It's so crazy.
Yeah, they both left about a year ago. Yeah,
because of
so
Elon.
I follow them so well that's why I know.
But you know what? I think too, people, like when I tell people, oh, most of my business is coming out of Twitter, people are like, oh, Twitter, you know, because people don't want to support Elon either.
Right.
There's that too, right? There's that too, right, Jenny? People go to me, Elon, like I pay for the blue check mark, and there are days where I'm like, why am I doing it?
Right. But you know what, you guys, you know what I think, and I've shared this before, and I'm glad I'm on KUAN-NING show now, because it's you know, it's and KUAN-NING, whichever shows that you're not gonna put on your YouTube, let me know so I could put it on my YouTube. I know this is your content, so you're the boss. She's my boss, you know, when it comes to these kind of things. You know, I gotta listen to her, because it's not my thing.
Someone else, it's fun, right? When someone else takes over a little, like, it's good.
I love it. I love it. You know, I mean, look at Sean. But here's my thought. If and when, I'm not gonna say if, when Kamala wins tonight, you know what's gonna happen? Okay.
Well,
I think I'm gonna write this into my Substack too. I think I'm gonna write a prediction. So I'm gonna write this, you know, after we're done with this. The government is going to force Elon sell X, and you know who's gonna be the buyer? And he already said he's interested. Mark Cuban. Cuban. No, I love it. That's why I want Kamala to win. So Mark Cuban is gonna take over. He's gonna take over X, and he's gonna change the name back to Twitter. Him and probably a bunch of private equity, which I know a thing or two about private equity. Recently, I kind of share a few tips with KUAN-NING, because she likes, you know, to know more about that area. You know, so then Twitter is going to be back. I think the bird is going to be back if Kamala wins. And then I believe that Elon is going to get in a lot of shitty trouble with the law, and he may be deported, because if you guys read the news, that when he was here in America, back when I think he was attending Stanford or something, he didn't go to school. And he started doing startup. But if you don't go to school, and if you guys know you got a visa to be in America to go to school, and you don't go to school, you're supposed to go back home. But what he did was he stayed here, and he built out some of his first startup, and that is illegal. So then that means if he did that, even if he is a U.S. citizen now, they will still deport him, because you just broke America's law. So if that were to be the case, Tesla would tank, SpaceX would tank because SpaceX, the government is gonna
Okay,
retract.
I'm selling my Tesla. I'm selling the stock.
Yeah. So you know.
Tell me
So-
what to sell, Jenny.
Well, you know what? Instead of telling you what to sell, I'm looking to wanted to teach you guys or women how to trade like me.
100%. Yes,
You know,
thank you, Jenny.
because
We need it.
in the olden days, the traditional of saying buy and hold, okay, was a thing on Wall Street, but it's not anymore. Now,
Yeah.
the reason why there's still a buy and hold in crypto because of the Bitcoin maxi. Okay, because of the Bitcoin maxi. They don't want people to dump Bitcoin. They want you to buy and hold it because that's how Bitcoin goes up, you know? So but as you guys can see, I've been losing 4,000 followers now ever since I spoke out against Elon. I had 123,000.7 followers, and every day I kept seeing it down. But I already say it, you know, Elon, hi Elon, I know you're stalking me, but I don't care, Elon, if you take my followers down to 0, as long as Kamala wins, I win. Okay? If Kamala wins, I win. So forget about the 4,000 followers that you probably took away from me illegally. Okay, you could just overnight, you just unclick the follow, right? I don't give a shit. You know, I do believe that Elon has people stalking me. You know, because women we were very highly intuitive. But again, back to KUAN-NING. Can we scroll through some of the folks' question for Melina?
Yeah, there's one right here, right, KUAN-NING?
If Kamala wins, what's the first thing you would do? Why are you guys asking me? It is a Melina day, okay? But I'm gonna answer real.
Everyone's excited about the election.
Okay, so if Kamala wins, what's the first thing I'm gonna do? Well, first of all, here's my honest answer, you guys. If you guys are in America, okay? I've shared this before. If Kamala wins, I would stay inside the house as possible because there will be riots on the street. I'm 30 minutes from LA, which is Los Angeles, and there will be riots there. Where I'm at, yes, riots. Where I'm at, which is Orange County, which is predominantly Democrats until 5 or 6 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, because of the Vietnamese American. That's my mother's homeland.
I didn't know.
The Vietnamese American here, that I think they're cuckoo. Okay, they don't know what the fuck they're doing. So they will go out to Huntington Beach Pier with the Vietnamese flag and American flag and the Trump flag. I think they're crazy. And I even put out a post on my Instagram to separate my mother from those crazy Vietnamese people because my mother is Vietnamese. So I wanted to let the world know that my mother is not crazy. My mother is an educated woman and she's voting for Kamala and she lives right here in Orange County, you know, with me, and she's not crazy. So if Kamala wins, of course, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to jump so high. You guys don't know how happy I'm going to be. I'm going to be so happy. If I was a man, right? But I'm not a man. If I was a man, that man would say, I don't care if I don't have sex for the next 3 months, okay? Because that's how happy I am, okay? Because, well, we all know men need sex, right? So that's impossible. So, but that is the first thing I would do. But normally, I was invited to Hollywood, okay? Hollywood, there are a number of after parties for Kamala, Kamala for president. I got invited. And so I've been thinking, should I go or should I not? Look, I mean, I look all good and stuff, right? But I think,
girl.
well, and the reason why it's in Hollywood is because LA is still very democratic, okay? But from Hollywood to where I'm at, it's an hour away. So, and if the votes come in late, it'll be midnight to 1. And then by that time, I'll be driving on the freeway home. People are drunk and crazy. And you know what? I think KUAN-NING said, Jenny, you're such a chicken. Just stay home. Okay? You know, you got so much things to do. Just stay home, lock yourself inside the door, and just be safe. So I think I'm just going to grab something to eat locally here. But I think I've made my decision. I'm not going to Hollywood for those parties up there. there are no parties here in Orange County because they're predominantly pro-Trump. Okay, and
That's
so
interesting.
there you go.
I like this question though. Who would have the most positive effect on the crypto space, Kamala or Trump? This is where, you know, I think the easy answer for people who are just reading headlines will say it's Trump.
400 people watching us. Holy shit. But anyway, Melina, go ahead.
So tell me, so how I'm answering this, and you tell me, and KUAN-NING, I also want to get your opinion on this. Who would have the most positive effect on the crypto space, Kamala or Trump? What I say, level surface, if people just read headlines, they think Trump.
Mm-hmm. Especially if you're on Twitter.
Exactly. But now, if you're telling me, because it is true, I will say that I wasn't so sure that Kamala was not pro-crypto. These words are too strong. Pro-crypto, not crypto, you know? I wasn't sure. But it, again, and this is one thing I want people to know, like you know, as a reporter for a long time, yes, Canada, but it's the same everywhere when it comes to politics. Kamala will be the face of the Democratic Party, but there is still a party, right? Right, Jenny? So like, even if Kamala's, you know, not talking about crypto, I'm pretty sure the Democrats are talking about crypto.
Okay, so I'm going to give an exclusive on KUAN-NING show that proved to you guys that I did write my Substack. Okay, I'm a person who say things and do things. I'm not just a talker, but I do it. But I'm going to scroll real quick, but you guys are welcome to read the title. See? What does that say?
I can't see. KUAN-NING, can you see? Oh, congratulations to Kamala Harris on becoming the first woman to lead our nation as the 47th president of the United States.
That's what I'm gonna put out. And look how long it is. Wait, hold on. See, look. I told you I'm not lying.
God bless, girl.
I told you I'm not lying, right?
So
yeah.
this is going to answer, again, it's 7 pages already. I think I'm gonna add a little bit more, but you know, but this is gonna answer this particular question. Okay. And there is a section here. Let me give you this section that I wrote. Hold on. Give me this section. I'm gonna give you guys 2 sections. So here's one section. Read the title.
Why Kamala Harris bring it closer, quietly embracing crypto. Sorry, my God, I feel like I'm at the eye doctor.
Quietly. I wrote why quietly. And then here's another final thing I want to show. What does that say?
Mark Cuban, the pro-crypto SEC chair, America needs.
Yes, that's what I wrote. So now you guys see it, that I'm not bluffing. I did write a piece, and I'm just waiting for the confirmation that Kamala is our woman, and I'm gonna blast this out, and I'm gonna answer that question too. So, but here's the thing, KUAN-NING. Let's, you know, I know we got to respect your time too.
Yeah. We can also wrap it up. Yeah.
Let you choose one more question for Melina, and I choose another question for Melina, and we choose one question from the audience for Melina, not from me, and then we can call it a day.
I'm happy to do this with all of you.
No, but you see how our community got to know you so much more.
Yeah, I love it.
You see that? Like like Sean was asking, you know, what ethnicity are you, and you're Italian, and you get what I'm saying, you know?
Yeah.
So, all right, KUAN-NING.
Yeah, KUAN-NING, ask away. You can even ask me about content creation, video work. Like, there's so much I do. It's like, I'm like Jenny. Well, I'm like all the ladies, actually. There's like, we do a ton of different things.
Yeah, like, okay, I want to know.
I'm ask you a personal question if it's okay, but just be prepared. My question is personal. Go ahead, KUAN-NING.
No, I want to know, like, do you identify yourself more Italian or more Canadian, actually? Like,
oh my God, this is like the Canadian existential crisis. So I read this book a long time ago. It's called Selling Illusions. It's one of my favorites because it really compares like United States to Canada. So in Canada, we like to say that we welcome all ethnicities, and when you come here, you get to keep your ethnicity. Whereas in America, we like to say once you come here, you are American, right? But I will tell you, I've always had this like, so when I go to Italy, I do not feel Italian. And then when I'm in Canada, I feel very much Italian, you know? So that's the best answer I can give you. It is the, both, both. Obviously I have culture here. We do a lot of, Sunday lunches, all that jazz. So I would say we keep that Italian tradition, spirit alive. But I still am third generation now, KUAN-NING. So like, there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, this is weird. Like, for instance, we did not get married in a church, which was like, but we didn't, we're like, well, the church, whatever. It's like Elon, whatever.
Yeah. I think like, because I'm also like a bit third culture. So I'm like, I don't feel like anywhere is home, but you just don't find a place, right? And then probably in the end of the day is where your heart is. So
Exactly.
yeah, exactly. So that is why I'm like super interested, because three of us are like pretty third culture. So I just want to ask this.
Yeah. I would say too, my heart is where there's a beach. So it's clearly not in cold Canada. I'm like not in the right place at all.
100%. Okay, Jenny, like what kind of personal question? I'm super excited.
Okay. So as I'm asking Melina, actually now I have two questions, a personal and a crypto question. So if you KUAN-NING can find another question from our audience and then
I already
ask
found
Melina.
it.
Oh, you found it. Okay. So let me give you the easier one, which is the crypto. Okay. So I know for sure, because you already told us you have Bitcoin in your wallet. You probably have Ethereum in your wallet. I know for sure you have TBALL in your wallet.
Of course I have Tetherball. That's what I was going to say. Tetherball.
Of course, TBALL. So could you name another 2 or 3? Do you nibble or do you buy other coin? And if so, which can you name 3 more?
Okay. Woo. Okay.
Uh-oh.
So is Solana? I mentioned
Solana's good. Okay, so Solana's good. Okay, so that's 4.
So you know what? You like Solana? I got into Sui.
Sui. Okay, I don't know that one.
SUI. No, see, KUAN-NING is like, yeah. It's the new
Oh,
Solana.
okay.
New
Okay,
Solana.
okay, gotcha. Okay.
And then it's very strange, but I said this yesterday too. I find right now what I see on the timeline, and I want people to notice this. I always see Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Ethereum. And obviously I'm not so much about price action, but I will say that right now I'm a little like, what's going to happen to Ethereum? I'm a little confused, but I did dabble into more Polygon.
Yes.
I'm into like, I'm trying to see like, AVAX. I'm trying to see like, what are other layer 2s that maybe are going to research, but it's honestly, I don't know what will happen to Ethereum. All I know is that everyone's like, everything's being built on ETH. Right. So is that true? Is that not? I don't know. But I said Solana, Sui, Polygon. Let me throw in. I mean, you know what? I have some XRP, but it's not my favorite.
Why? Chris Larson is the only crypto big names that gave Kamala money. He gave Kamala $11 million.
The reason why, and then we could go into a whole other conversation. It's weird to me that they're trying to back themselves with the government. There's something weird about it.
Right.
And
because
then
they want it to be the backbone for the banking system.
I understand. I know.
Okay. Yeah.
I get that.
Then what? And then what?
Well, that's it. It feels a little weird, but I will tell you, and I joke about this a lot, but I think the XRP community, like every chain should learn about the XRP community. I have never seen a community reach out. If I talk about Bitcoin or any other coin, the XRP army is what they call themselves. They are so good. They are so active. Like, honestly, Jenny, that is the one. That's why I mentioned XRP too, because it is true that community is solid. I've never seen a community like that.
Are
those good ones, Jenny? Am I doing good homework? You tell me.
You're very good. You're very good. And you know how you were saying earlier how I kind of like know everything? It's because I'm already 300 years old. So
we know you guys are, I appreciate that. That.
And you guys are only in your 30s. KUAN-NING is such a baby. I don't even want to mention her age because it makes me look like 500 years old. But you know, but yeah, XRP is good. Now Polygon, now that was Matic, right? The ticker was Matic. Is it
And
still
Jen just
Matic or
commented
did they
on that.
change?
It changed to
It did.
Paul.
They
Just
changed to
POL
Paul.
now. Yeah, Paul.
Oh, I gotcha. So obviously you guys know I used to have Matic, but I don't anymore. So but I read something about that, so I want to make sure. But
Well, it's going to be interesting. So DEF CON is happening in Bangkok, right? There's the aggregation summit also happening. There's a lot that like Polygon, but I would just say like for me, even Polygon, I see Ethereum as a whole, and there's a lot happening right now. But like I'm saying, Jenny, I'm not all about price go up. But right now I feel like the price, and I know it's never about the price, but it's a bit stagnant considering all these things that they say that they're creating. So that's why, like, I want people to take, you know, I'm mentioning names, but go and do your homework. But I think right now too, Jenny, if I'm not mistaken, this is the time, right? This is like, for me right now, this is all, everything I mentioned, we're on the cheaper side.
Yeah, right.
So
exactly.
it could go up, like it could dump, but right now I don't think it could go lower than where it's at right now. You know?
Right.
So people could do their homework. But I think what's important right now for people to understand is there's a lot of things going on the Ethereum network, the ZK rollups, the ZK EVMs. These are big buzzwords. Like even when I say it, I'm like, I don't know. So it's going to be interesting to see. I don't know that I'm particularly content with the fact that they changed Matic to Pole. I think it was a bit weird, even for myself. I know I did a video on it, but I also thought that it took me 5 years to figure out that Polygon was Matic. Now I got to think about it again. Like, what is Matic? You know? So, but we'll see what happens. But I don't want people to forget about these chains because we don't know. You know, it's almost like, again, 5 years ago, I was like, Solana, $8. I'm not interested. You know, I wasn't interested. So that's why I bring those up specifically because I think like they could surprise us. But I don't know, Jenny. I really don't know. I'm a bit, I don't know how I feel about Ethereum right now.
Okay. So here's my take, and I want to give a full disclosure verse. People out there listening now or later or whatever the case may be, this is purely chit chat. I'm not giving any investment advice. This is purely analytical opinion. Okay. So do not take what I say and go out and buy it and say, I heard Jenny Ta said that and blah, 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 blah. So don't. Okay. But here's my thought, Melina. A lot of folks like yourself who have been kind of in love with Ethereum through the NFTs and stuff like that should start to detach from Ethereum a little bit. And it's fair to say that if you have that feeling, then you have that woman intuition. Because if you look at the data, Solana is actually beginning to surpass Ethereum in a number of categories. Right now, in my own personal forecast and analysis, I do believe that Solana can go up to $300 or $500, and then eventually $1,000. Okay, so if we do the multiple from where Solana's at now to 300, that's a double, right? So if you want a comparable double with Ethereum, is Ethereum what 2,300 right now? Where's Ethereum today? 2,300?
I could check.
Okay.
Oh, then my stuff isn't Canadian. Oh. Okay, let me check on my computer. Oh, I gotta put US. 2,400, let's say, yeah.
Okay, so let's say 2,400. So for Ethereum to equal to the same ROI, return on investment as Solana, Ethereum has to be 4,800.
Yeah.
Do you get me? Right? So I'm talking to you. I'm talking to you as a trader right now. So I'm trying to train the women out there how to calculate as a trader. So which do you think it's easier for Solana to go from 100 where it is right now to double, right? Which is a double, or Ethereum from 2,400 to double? You get my point. Then that's when you will make your decision if you have extra money. Okay, where should you put into? So don't ever fall in love with an investment. Fall in love with a soul. a human
Yeah,
being.
exactly. I
Okay?
love
Do
Yeah.
not ever fall in love with investment. Trust me. If anybody's going to ask me anything, it's me. Okay? I know about that. Okay? So don't fall in love with investment. You make money, you get out. That's why I believe in trading. So my second question, which is the personal question. Okay. So we all know, as you proudly say, I haven't seen his picture yet, that you're married. You recently married.
Yes.
You don't have kids yet. Are you planning to have kids? So there's a couple parts here, Melina. Are you planning to have kids? And so if you do have kids, do you still believe that you're going to be as active in the crypto space as you have been? Or it's going to take you back a little bit because seeing how you are, if you're a mother, I'm sure you're going to love that baby to death. Could you share with us about being the single Melina when you're in crypto? Because you said that he was your boyfriend back then. And then now you guys are married, right? And then so take us on a few further steps. I always love that part to hear about from
Yeah,
people.
I think we're at an interesting time right now because, like I said, everyone around me is having a baby, so it's almost like I'm the oddball right now, but also the oddball, which is also like I run my own business, right? So it's very different, right? Like, and I know what you're referring to, Jenny. It's coming to this agreement or understanding that if we were to start having a family, things would have to change. And right now, I'm not ready to make that change because I am a proud female entrepreneur who, likes to do her own thing. And so we're at a weird, like, it's an interesting time right now. And it's interesting because like it's everyone's asking me. I went to the doctor's office, Jenny, and I was like, maybe I'm not aware, but maybe my eggs are made out of Bitcoin or something. Like, I don't know. Like Jenny, like it's like top of like, when are the kids coming? That like everyone's asking. But right now, what I would say is we're not there yet. It's not something I'm prioritizing right now.
Okay.
And I think it would be foolish, and I want women to understand this. I think we've done a disservice in these last, I don't know, decades in telling women that they can be everything all at once. Right. I think we did a disservice to women because there's so much pressure. And so right now I'm trying to juggle what I know, what I see, like Jenny's going to appreciate this. I don't hang around with the moms coming home and I tell myself, I want this. Do you know what I mean, Jenny? I don't, there's none of that. None of that's happening. It's more like, I could wait more. So, and that's what I mean by we've done a disservice because the woman who can do it all, I think we can't. When I look back at my mom, who knew she was going to have kids, stayed home with them. And again, it's like, it's making these choices and you're not a bad mom if you have them babysat, you're not a bad mom if you go back to work. You're not a bad mom if you decide to be a housewife or, work at home. But there's still a lot of pressure. So right now, like my short answer is I definitely don't think I could be as active as you're saying, because crypto doesn't sleep.
Right.
I left the journalism world thinking I want to have my Sundays to myself, and I'm in crypto and there's no days. Like it's constant, you're constantly having to be on. But yeah, I would say it would be unrealistic for me to think, oh, well, I'm going to have a kid and I'll still be here. And then Jenny, there's also the whole ageism thing about crypto. And you know this, you got to look a certain way. You got to act a certain way. And that's what attracts certain people. Right? That's what flocks people to certain pages. So, which I'm also aware of. I'm not that as well. But it is going to be interesting to see how I also navigate that. And then it's funny because then some of my girlfriends are like, oh, knowing you're going to turn it into like a business, the baby with the crypto and the, like you're going to turn it into something. Which again, I'm like, I don't want to do that either. Like, I don't want to be the token child, anyway, whatever. But we'll see what happens, Jenny. But yeah, I feel like we've done us as women, we've done a disservice going around saying you can do it all. And I laugh sometimes because I'll send memes to my girlfriends. It's like the mom who's like, you should have a baby. It's going to change your life. And then she's like, shut up, stop screaming. And, she's like, you're going to love it. And, and it's like, so all I say is, we've done ourselves a disservice, and I want young women to know today you have a choice. Hopefully you still will have a choice in America soon, but also You don't have to do it all at once. You know, things come in seasons and change, and things change. And yeah, like, you know, Jenny, we got to give ourselves grace. That's really what it comes down to. Yeah.
What zodiac are you,
I'm a
Melina?
Pisces.
Oh, you're a Pisces. I was just writing about that yesterday. You're a water sign.
Yeah.
Oh
So
my
what does
God.
that mean? What does it mean, Jenny? Tell me.
Well, because I'm an Aries, and then my friends always like, you know, yes. So you're a water sign. So Pisces, Cancer, and Scorpio are all three water signs. So I think we get along well. So yeah. So Pisces are super smart. Water signs are very romantic, sappy, kind of a little bit, but anyway, in terms of what you were saying, Melina, I'm just glad that you have a husband, or to those out there, a fiance, a boyfriend, or girlfriend that supports you and you support each other. Okay, because sometimes, you know, you may want something, and then your husband or your fiance may say, "Well, I want a baby," right? So every time when I hear stories like this, you know, I am grateful, or not grateful, but I'm glad for the person, which is you, that you found a mate that respects your boundaries and respects what you want, okay, and not what he wants, you know.
Mhm.
So, you know, and then
Oh,
those out
Jenny,
there,
it's our body. Like
what?
this is, it's our body.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? I'm like, if you were to get fat, like I've already said this to him. I said, if you were to get fat, I'd have 10 of them. You go, you do all the work. You know? He said,
Right, right.
we're not seahorses. I said, well, figure it out then.
Well, the thing about fat is that well, I told Kuan-Ning this after I came back from Asia. I gained a lot of pounds because in Asia I was traveling for a month and a half. I did. So this was back in April though, right? So I gained a lot of pounds. I actually came back from a vacation, and you think that I was having, and I kind of went into a depression because I gained weight. I couldn't fit in my jeans anymore, and then for a while I couldn't lose the pound. But I've learned. You know what I started doing? You guys Google this, and this is not recommendation, people, not recommendation. So it's called water fasting. Okay,
Oh.
so water fasting is I would actually fast for 3 whole days, just strict water, because my body at the time, it has fat. Okay, it has fat. So if you skinny, if you're doing it, you faint, don't come and ask me. Okay, because I had extra pounds. So I literally lost like 20 pounds, like just like that. So it's called water fast. So I fit in my jeans again. So I'm super happy now. So the thing about it is, if you have the will, you have to wait, you know. And I chose the water fasting because fasting is the healthiest diet in the world. It actually, I've read so much about it recently, since April to now, that it could even heal cancer cell,
Wow.
cancerous cell, because cancer cell are being fed by fake sugar, right? Sugar that we eat every day. So, or processed food, right? So that's what I've been doing. So if any of the women out there, if you find that you need to lose 5 to 10 pounds, I know
have
Kuan-Ning, I can never beat you, because
no,
I know she bikes, and Kuan-Ning, you know there's something I cannot do, right?
no.
So right, go ahead, Kuan-Ning.
No, it's just like you are talking about fasting, like 3-day water fasting. I just started also like earlier today because I also want to do a
Really?
3-day. Yes. And there's a book
What?
called
You got no fat to fast? Are you crazy?
No,
I mean,
because
go ahead.
no, because I'm sick. And then like, you know, I know that when you are sick, sometimes when you fast, you heal better, like because it heal your cells. So I want to get
Yeah,
better
that is
faster.
true. Yeah,
Yeah.
that is true.
And
But
there's a book.
you got no fat. Go ahead, Kuan-Ning.
No, it's just there's a book called Fast Like a Girl. So because girls, we have different hormone in our body.
Yeah.
So like if you fast in the first 10 days of your cycle, natural cycle, it's easier because we have less appetite. But then you adjust, right? So it's just all I'm saying. But like, I agree with you. Like I just wanted to let you know that's so funny because I just started today.
Oh, okay. So I've been doing now for last, I would say, 2.5 months. So I would eat one day, and then I will fast 3 days. Eat one day, fast 3 days. So That's working for me, and it seems like at first it was really difficult, and I would just lay in bed all day, and because it's like, oh my god, it's like, but now I kind of got used to it because the body got used to it, and so I think it's good. But I still got to go to the gym because when you're fat and you lose weight, you kind of have some loose skin, right? And I'm just telling the truth here, so I got to go to gym. But anyway, Melina, you both look beautiful and skinny. You guys don't need to worry about that, so but anyway, so
I'm so happy
KUAN-NING,
we got to do this, Jenny. Yeah, KUAN-NING, any questions from the audience before we get going?
yes.
Yeah, there are so many. Just keep pumping up, but I choose one and now it's disappeared. But I'm just gonna ask you like this. So Jen asked you, like Melina, how would you see yourself career-wise in 10 years?
Wow.
Oh my
Good question.
God. I stopped doing the 10-year plan, Jenny. I was like, oh God, I did that plan when I was in college, and then I left, and then I felt like I didn't know who I was anymore because I was obsessed with the plan and the title. I'm this, this is what I do, this is my identity. But realistically, what I do see myself doing is a bit like what we're doing today. I would hope to be able to lead more conversations. I don't know how that's going to look like in 10 years, but like I said, like I still do a lot of content creation for businesses in my city. Like people don't even know me as the crypto girl, like it's like, so I think I'm going to have to figure out a way where I could marry both, which is like, hey, I do this, but I also have opinions about crypto and I'm in the crypto space. So I have to figure out what that looks like. But right now, like the best wording would be like a key opinion leader, but like instead of just being like a KOL on Twitter, it's really like being able to have opinions about these topics that we've had today, Jenny, is how I see myself, truthfully. Yeah, and we'll see what happens, Jenny, I originally was like, I want to help onboard women. I want them to buy crypto. And I was like, I don't want to be that person. I actually don't. Like, I want to help them, come in the space and find the tools and whatnot, but there's already so many great tools that I'm not gonna, I don't want to force people to buy things. I don't want to. So like, I decided I'm not going to be the teacher, but I want to be the speaker. I want to, if people want to get together, throw events, do stuff for women, I'm all for that, but I don't want to be there setting up your ledger. Is that specific enough?
Very specific. Very specific. But yeah, if Kamala is in, I believe the next 4 years, it's gonna be pro crypto. That's when people like you and me and KUAN-NING, that's the time when you should launch projects, because trust me, it's there's gonna be rules out. It's gonna be clear rule. She's gonna move fast because she's younger. So but anyway, I hope she wins so I can publish this for you guys to read tonight. But that's it. But KUAN-NING, you're the host. You should speak first. Go ahead, KUAN-NING.
Okay, so I found this question, but we need to finish this one because I think it's really interesting.
Okay.
So what would 10-year-old Melina think of your career right now?
I'm exactly where I need to be. That's easy.
Okay.
Exactly where I need to be.
She loves what she does.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's amazing.
You know what? All these, so I look at my old content, Jenny KUAN-NING, I'm like, oh my God, I would do it. I was doing these videos, like teaching women how to do videos. And I look at myself, I'm like, oh my God, look at the hair. Look at what I'm wearing. But then I'm like, you know what? This is how you get better. Like in anything in life, right? Like Jenny says, she's 300 years old, but she's done all the legwork to get to now doing what she does, right? So I like to say I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. It's funny. 4 years ago, it's like, I'm late to Bitcoin. I'm late to Ethereum. I'm late. We're so early, but maybe not too
Very
soon.
early.
Early.
We're only at 7% in the world. There's still 93% left to go. Imagine when we're at 10 or 15 or 25%. We're like 500 years old to those people.
Exactly.
So we're definitely early. So don't worry about that.
Yeah. So we're exactly where we need to be, and I would even say like just be open to changing the 10-year plan. I think that was me, you know, when I was in school, I was so stuck on doing what I wanted. And then after doing it for 15 years, I was miserable, right? So it's like, be open to other possibilities. Yeah.
And you know
Yeah.
what? And you got to have that passion in what you do. Because like, again, I'm 300 years old. I still love what I do when I was 20 years old. You
I
know,
love
it never changed. And not only that, I just get better, more confidence, more like, you know, I could debate people without looking at notes. You guys never see, I never look at notes, right? It just like come out from here, right? And nobody can question me either, you know. So, but you know, but anyway, Kwan-Ning, back to you. You're the boss, so you always gonna lead. I'm not gonna lead anything. I'm not your boss. You're the boss, so I'm a follower here.
No, okay. Thank you so much, both. Like, I think it's so inspiring, Melina, everything you have done. And also Jenny, again, you have been an amazing co-host again. And yeah, of course, like a lot of people in the comments, you can see Sean, you guys, you know, help mentor my daughter.
I love that. Yes.
Yeah, so I think it's very inspirational. And Melina, hopefully we can host you again for sure. And then to follow your career path, your journey, your passion. And then we really love that, right? So thank you so much again to be with us. And I will see you all next time.
Thank you, guys. Well, ladies, thank you so much.
Ciao,
Thank you,
ciao.
Melina. Thank you, Kwan-Ning. Bye,
Bye.
everybody. Vote! Go vote!
Go
Bye.
vote.